Well, does the FA Cup shocks exist in Eastleigh? We're about to find out. MK Dons are the team hoping to avoid one at the hands of Eastleigh. 34 places separate these two sides. The side who sits 6th in the National League face the side who sit 19th in England's 3rd tier. And MK Dons' record over the last 2 seasons has seen them out in the first round to Grimsby and to Port Vale, respectively, whilst, of course, Eastleigh's record has not been too bad either. Of course, they were in the second round last year before they were beaten in the competition. And of course, the first round FA Cup weekend also falls in line with Remembrance Sunday, paying a debt to all the servicemen and women who've served in wars over the past few years and decades, as football remembers the people who made the ultimate sacrifice. So often when those tributes are finished and with fans inside the stadium, you often hear a massive roar from both home and away fans. But of course, we don't get to hear that with, of course, no fans inside the stadium. Well, for Eastleigh, they are unchanged from the side that beat Bromley on Tuesday night away from home at Hayes Lane. They have Joe McDonnell in goal. They have a back three of Alex Winter, Andrew Boyce, and Joe Tomlinson, who was playing his football for Hungerford Town last year in the National League South. Sam Smart is at right wing back. Cav Miley, Jack Payne, and the captain Danny Holland, who celebrated his birthday, incidentally, on Friday, is the other man in midfield with at left wing back Michael Green, one of the club's most longest serving players who's made over 300 appearances. Ben House, who's had a season to remember so far, is up front alongside Dan Smith. The substitutes for Eastleigh 6 have been named in Ross Flitney, Pierce Bird, Callum Bourne, Ben Scory, Tom Bearwish, and Tyrone Barnett. 3 academy graduates out of the 6 are on the bench. Well, for MK Dons, they make 4 changes to their team. They have Lee Nichols in goal. The back threes of Dean Lewington. Bailey Cargill comes in place of Richard Keogh. And Warren O'Hara is the 3rd centre-back. Regan Paul is at right wing-back. Louis Thompson replaces Jordan Houghton. Lasse Sorensen comes in place of Scott Fraser, who's only fit for the bench. And David Kasumu's in there with Daniel Harvey, the Scot, at left wing-back. Colton Morris leads the line with Stephen Walker, who replaces Cameron Jerome. And the subs quickly, Andrew Fisher, Matthew Sorinola, Scott Fraser, Ben Gladwin, Jordan Houghton, John Freeman, and Jay Bird. Well, just before kickoff as well, they do the traditional stand for the Black Lives Matter movement, which of course has been so much used over the past few months in all levels of football. So Alan Young blows his whistle. We're underway here in this FA Cup first round clash Eastleigh and MK Dons, the two involved, who will be coming out on top in this one, which of course will be settled today. No replays, as of course the competition organisers decided against that idea, and immediately Eastleigh win the ball here. Here is Michael Green venturing forward. MK Dons trying to scramble men back, and he puts the ball in. It was overhit as both Dan Smith and Ben House were trying to run onto the cross. And in the end, it's gone out of play for a goal kick, which Lee Nichols and MK Dons will be happy about, I expect. Well, they won the ball in midfield. It was off the MK Dons central midfielder, David Kasumu, and played the ball quickly to Michael Green, who's at left wing back today, so he's got a lot of license to run forward and be very energetic and put balls in. And he was off the mark with that one so early on into the game. And here is now O'Hara looking for the diagonal ball to the right-hand side. Looking for Regan Paul. A bounce over the head of Green. Paul onto it, but Green manages to recover and defend it well. It's not going to trickle out of play, but he gets up in front of Paul, holds him off, and then diverts the danger away. Dan Smith being closed down by O'Hara. Now it's with the number 4, Cav Miley, up against Bailey Cargill. And he does very well here, Cav Miley, drifting inside, looking for a blue shirt. He picks one out in Winter, who's up from the back. Now it's with Sam Smart. He'll cross it in low. It's away by Lewington. MK Dons' record appearance holder. It's a good start here by Eastleigh. Here is Smart. They're going to take on the number 21. He gets the ball in. And then Lee Nichols able to deal with it. And he managed to get the cross in as Daniel Harvey was trying to close him down. But it was a first take of the afternoon for Lee Nichols. And they'll be hoping that there'll be plenty more of them like that this afternoon. But it's an encouraging start by the Spitfires. Very aptly given, of course, what the occasion is today. Not just for the FA Cup. Lee Nichols to Lewington. Now to Bailey Cargill on the ball. Back into the side in place of Richard Keogh, who is injured. He's missed the last few games as the MK Dons number 6 with injury. Steps in there. Now it's with Miley. Well played there by Sorensen. Now it's with Thompson. Morris now to the number 11, Stephen Walker. But he's challenged well by Alex Winter. And now Miley heading toward his own area. Checks back and plays it through to Sam Smart, starting at right wing back today. Does well to get away from Lewington. Now it's to Ben House, but the return ball back was a poor one, and MK Dons can bring it forward. It's a good ball through to Morris, who's going to get on the end of it. The Norwich City loanees waiting there here for the red support. He's going to drift inside, can't get around Winter, who stands his ground well. Here is Louis Thompson, another Norwich City loanee. Lasse Sorensen on loan from Stoke City. They've used the loan market well this season as Russell Martin's team. Walker on loan from Middlesbrough. Sorensen again, and MK Dons is looking to build with possession, which they so often like to do. They have the most average possession in League One so far this season. That's a lovely ball by Lewington to Walker out on the left, and his cross is taken a deflection off of Andrew Boyce, and it will be the first corner of the game for Milton Keynes Dons. Well, they built it well from the midfield, and then one ball forward from Lewington sent Walker in behind, and his cross did take a nick off an Eastleigh player, but they have got some defending to do. It's going to be Lasse Sorensen who's going to take this. They won't want to give an early goal away here, Eastleigh. Ball goes in, headed away well by Danny Hollands, skipper of Eastleigh. Thompson out to Sorensen. This one's a low cross. Flicked back in by Walker, hit by Thompson. And it's into the side netting. Well, it was a lovely layoff into him. Hit it on the first time of asking, and forced Joe McDonald to really have his angles covered at his near post. But luckily for him and Eastleigh, it goes into the side netting, and is a shot off target. But first shot of the game was not a bad one there by Louis Thompson, as he drilled it through the crowd of Eastleigh bodies, as well as the few MK Dons players that were up there. Now is Warren O'Hora, loan from Brighton, the Irishman. Lewington. He was in their first squad when they were reformed from Wimbledon. The ball goes in, it's beyond Carlton Morris. It is cleared away. Here is the number 9, Dan Smith, well challenged by David Kusumu. And now MK Dons have the ball here with Dean Lewington. Now Walker, Lewington gets it back under pressure from Ben House. He's done really well there, the former Reading player. But MK Dons still have the ball at their feet. It was a good contested challenge between the pair of them there. No foul, says the referee, Alan Young. Cargill to O'Hora, and it's as you'd expect, where MK Dons are having a lot of the ball so far. Lovely ball through to the middle of Carlton Morris, the big target man. He'll be prepared for any physical battle, will the MK Dons number 9. Sorensen looks in the middle again. Thompson can't quite play a successful ball. Cav Marley in there, but he's dispossessed by Thompson, who wins it back well. But he runs into Sam Smart, and Eastleigh now have it at the back with Tomlinson, who sends it forward, looking for Dan Smith. Hooking it away as O'Hora, and then Regan Paul gives it back to Bailey Cargill, and MK Dons now have the ball inside their own half. Sorensen looking for the diagonal. Is he going to pick out Regan Paul? Just a little bit too short, but he does challenge with Michael Green. He does get onto the head of it, and then Kusumu comes in against Danny Hollins, and Eastleigh have a throw-in. With around 7 minutes gone of this game. One chance of note for either side, which came from Louis Thompson. If you've just joined us on the live stream on RS Media, he struck the shot beyond the post. He got it from a pass down from Stephen Walker on the edge of the box, and he drilled it through a crowd of bodies, both MK Dons and Eastleigh. It's a lovely ball into Ben House, who goes down, looking for a penalty. Cav Miley shoots, and Bailey Cargill makes a vital block. Well, Alan Young was in a really good place to see if there was any contact. He's said that there was nothing on Ben House, but it was one simple long ball, went through the heart of the MK Dons back three, and almost saw Ben House get a shot away, but they just about did enough defending to stop the goalkeeper Lee Nichols being worked. But that could be a sign of things to come for Eastleigh, who have their first corner of the game. Smart takes it short. Put back into the box by Tomlinson, headed on by Winter. It's away by David Kusumu, got there ahead of the Eastleigh player. Michael Green tries to put it back in, but it's blocked off the behind of Carlton Morris, and Eastleigh have a throw-in. It was half-hearted appeals for that penalty when Ben House went down and didn't give anything. The referee, Alan Young, he was in a good place, as I said, to make that call. Bailey Cargill, Warren O'Hora, put under pressure, and Dan Smith does really well there to not give up the chase, and it's an MK Dons throw-in as the clearance from O'Hora is cannoned off the Eastleigh number 9, Dan Smith, who has got a good record at his old club, Bognor Regis Town, where he scored 28 in 38 before he made the move to Eastleigh in the summer. We're looking for options down the line, which he gets, or thought he did. Forward by Jack Payne. It's going to stay in play, is it? Yes, it does. And Dan Smith goes down. He's won a free kick. Regan Paul looked like he just clipped Dan Smith there, but he's saying, the MK Dons right wing back, that the ball had trickled out of play. Of course, as every referee knows, that isn't the case. If you're unsure if the whole ball's out, you cannot really give it. This is a chance for Eastleigh to maybe work the goalkeeper here. Jack Payne will take. He delivers it in. Not a bad delivery. Well watched, though, by Bailey Cargill, who heads it away safely. Green puts it low on the floor. Doesn't really get anywhere. MK Dons it to play it out here. It's a lovely ball into Regan Paul. He's got to wait for the support and easily get men back quickly. And that's good defending there by Ben House, who sees the ball go off him and out for a throw-in. But so far, coming up to 10.5 minutes of this first round FA Cup tie, it's been well contested so far. We've both given as good as they've got. Of course, with these first round ties, Football League sides from Leagues 1 and 2 just look to avoid shocks. We saw Colchester get dumped out at home by Marine. We also saw Kingsley knock out Port Vale. We saw Darlington knock Swindon out yesterday. Here's an attack for MK Dons. Good ball in by Walker. McDonald, who looked like he might have spilled that out to Carlton Morris, in the end recovers to keep that within his grasp. But that's a few times now where Walker has just drifted out to that left-hand side of the Eastleigh defence and put a couple of balls in. The first one got blocked off by Andrew Boyce, and then this one, no Eastleigh player was able to close it down, and it went on through to the goalkeeper, McDonald, who did a good job in keeping it together. And well played there by Ben House to nick it off Dean Lewington. He looks for Dan Smith, holds it up well, knocks it back to Payne. Tries to thread it through, but it's going straight to Sorensen, and then Jack Payne has fouled David Kasuma, and he holds his hands up to say what a poor ball that was, but what a really good bit of pressing that was by Eastleigh. And in the opening stages of this game, we have seen that from Dan Smith and Ben House, where they're not going to give the MK Dons centre-backs of O'Hora and Lewington in particular, the ones out on the right and the left of the three in particular, no time on the ball whatsoever. Here is O'Hora. Short to Regan Paul. Back now to Bailey Cargill. Lovely ball to Louis Thompson in a bit of space. Tries to run on through against Winter, but it's defended well by Eastleigh. Payne knocks it back to McDonald, who's just going to send the ball back into the MK Dons half. And then it goes over the head of House and runs on through to Bailey Cargill. Here is now Walker. Paul on the right-hand side. They're going to take on Michael Green. First time we've seen that. Good low ball in. McDonald spills it again. And luckily for him, there was no MK Dons player trying to pounce onto the rebound and able to gobble it up safely. Regan Paul did well there. Went on the outside of Michael Green. It was a low cross. Dangerous for a goalkeeper to deal with. There was only 2 MK Dons players in the box there, and they were all well away from it. And luckily for Eastleigh, the opportunity to potentially get a shot on target was non-existent there for MK Dons. Getting a foot in there is Cav Miley, who was playing his football in Jersey a few years ago before he was snapped up by Eastleigh and Ben Strevens. Here's Sorensen now. Thompson threading it through. That's a lovely ball to Walker. He puts it in low. Good defending by Andrew Boyce this time. And Walker is really looking lively in this game so far. He again found that space down that left-hand channel, drifted infield. The low cross was a good ball in, but it was well watched by Andrew Boyce, who happily puts that out for a corner kick. Sorensen will take it again. Delivers it. It goes to the back post this time, but it's overhit and doesn't pick anybody out. And Joe McDonald will just see that one roll out over his head and out for a goal kick. Well, Eastleigh, of course, have only appeared in the first round 7 times prior to this. Their record is 4 wins and 1 loss. Their first appearance came 11 years ago, when they were beaten by Barrow. And then, of course, they have appeared in there every time since as a National League side. They were beaten by they beat Lincoln, they've beaten Crewe, they've beaten Swindon and beaten Stourbridge over that previous time. But, of course, they have had 2 games with replays where they beat Swindon away in 2016, which of course was a game televised on the BBC on a Friday night. And then they beat Stourbridge in a replay last year before they were beaten by Crewe. Of course, dumped them out of the cup. Here is Walker again. To O'Hora. Dan Harvey is playing very, very high for MK Dons. Cargo looking to pick him out. He does. He takes under control very nicely, but he's offside as he just unaware of the Eastleigh line and just straight forward a little bit too much there. Well, whilst Harvey is getting a lot of space down that left-hand flank for MK Dons, he has had some good glow crosses, dealt with well by Eastleigh defence and goalkeeper McDonald, but yet they haven't really tested the Eastleigh goalkeeper inside sort of 18 minutes yet. Well, 16 minutes here, and it's so far been a good display by the National League side. But for MK Dons, of course, they will have encouragement from the opening 15 minutes that there is space there, and they just look like they're going to wait for their opportunity to score a goal. O'Hora. Ball forward to Walker. Regan Paul. Often a centre-back. Featured at right wing-back and right-back throughout this campaign so far under Russell Martin's leadership, who is actually the youngest manager in the EFL as well, is Russell Martin at 34. Celebrated a year in charge on Wednesday. And this is game 38 for the former Norwich and Peterborough centre-back. Here's Walker, Kasumu, O'Hora up from centre-back. Tried to thread it through to Morris, but Jack Payne knew what he was intending to do there. Here's Cav Miley, turns back to Payne, Tomlinson. Now it's with Andrew Boyce. Good ball out to Sam Smart, and he goes down. Lewington, who's made the foul, and needs to get a free kick. Right in front of the dugout where the home coach Ben Strevens occupies. It's going to be Jack Payne who's going to take this. It's a fair old way away, so he's got to really put a lot of force behind it and a lot of height on this ball if it is going to reach the MK Dons penalty area. Taken by Payne. Doesn't reach the penalty. Instead it goes to the edge of the box. It was flicked on by a Eastleigh player, but Kasumu's there, just lets it run, and then he's able to pass it to Harvey. Lewington clears it away first time. Payne with a chest to Alex Winter. Hooks it forward. Dan Smith flicking it down, intended for an Eastleigh midfielder, but they were too far away to get on the end of it, and Dan Harvey does well to deal with Sam Smart, and MK Dons have a throw-in. And as we know, MK Dons' FA Cup record, the furthest they have reached since 2004 was the 5th round in 2013, where they were beaten by Barnsley. They, since 2015, have reached round 4 on 2 occasions. They did it as a championship side in 2016 when they got beat by Chelsea, and then in 2018 they got beat by Coventry when they were a League One side. Of course, that was a shock in itself. Of course, Coventry then were in League Two. Of course, now Coventry one division above them. MK Dons in League One, second year there after a 19th place finish last year. They are there currently in League One. That's good play between Morris and Harvey. The flag stays down. Harvey looking to get a little bit away from Smart, but he can't do so. So he goes back to Morris. He goes on the inside of Miley. He goes for the curler, but it's right underneath the nose of Joe McDonough, who had his angles covered. He was positioned very well and saves it and keeps hold of the ball very, very well. It was good play there between Harvey and Morris. Morris got that little bit of space, went for the curl, just didn't quite wrap his foot round it. If he'd aimed for the far post, it certainly would have required a lot more McDonald. Sorensen and Holland's competing there, and it was Sorensen that did very, very well as he just stayed composed there, the young Dane. Lewington out of play for a Eastleigh throw. 21 minutes gone, no goals yet here at the Silver Lake Stadium. Here is Ben House, pokes it through to Hollands. Tomlinson, not the best ball to Michael Green, but he does want to get away from Port, away from Kasumu. On the inside now, overhit for Payne, but there is Andrew Boyce. Here's Winter. Smart. Here is Joe Tomlinson. Looks forward. Lee Nichols off his line quickly and able to deal with the ball. He, of course, was part of the Wigan squad that reached the FA Cup semi-finals in 2014. He didn't play a minute in that entire FA Cup campaign under Uwe Rosler. But, of course, it was an experience for him. That's a lovely ball by Lewington. Harvey getting on the end of it, crosses it in. It's a disappointing cross. And it goes out of play for a goal kick. But he is the man at the moment that Eastleigh are really struggling to work out. He's finding a lot of space down that flank. No one's really getting around him at the moment. And that'll be a bit of a concern for the Eastleigh manager, Ben Strevens, at the moment. Joe McDonald just bringing the ball back from the advertising hoarding into play. And of course, he'll resume play as well, incidentally. Signed from Notts County, the former AFC Wimbledon goalkeeper this summer. Walker getting back and trying to help his team out. Here's Smart. Winter. Dispossessed well by Carlton Morris. He now drifts out to the left. MK Dons looking to get men up in support quickly here. On the overlap is Harvey. Has he overhit the ball? Yes, he has. Goal kick. Winter had to come back and do his diligence there. He just was trying to make sure he didn't dive in and just close the angle down as much as possible there for Alex Winter, which he did a very, very good job of. And it goes out of play for a goal kick. But that's disappointing there between Carlton and Morris. He did so well to win the ball, and then he was waiting for the overlapping run. He got it from Daniel Harvey, and then the pass was overhit, and he had to really stretch to try and get on the end of that. Oldham, of course, are leading Hampton and Richmond. Of course, the game being covered on RS Media by Mark Stillman and Harley, and it's an Eastleigh free kick. Other scores as well. Torquay, leaders in the National League, are leading League Two Crawley. Havant and Waterlooville, leading Cray Valley. Bencente Gomez with the goal there. Barnet, of course, beating Burton Albion, who've made a dreadful start to their League One campaign. Wesley Fonguk scored, and a team no strangers to cup shocks over the last few years. But it's an Eastleigh free kick here. High line deployed by MK Dons. Can Payne get beyond it? He can. It's a really good run, and Holland's got a flick onto it. It was Andrew Boyce, actually, who got the flick. But he broke through the MK Dons defensive line. And it was almost a flick at the goalkeeper, and you can't help but feel that he had a lot more time there, Andrew Boyce. I think he was unsure whether he was onside or not. He just tried to flick it towards goal, but he didn't really get a lot on it. But Lee Nichols was well positioned there, and the ball intended for Dan Smith is defended well by Bailey Cargill and MK Dons. But he did very, very well there. They were very, very high, MK Dons. You'd expect they dropped deeper, but in fact they were too high. Eastleigh saw through it. Two players made the run. Certainly one of them was offside. It was Boyce who stayed onside, did the hard part. But of course, if he had known that the flag was going to stay down, he would have took it under control, I expect, and maybe put the ball in the back of the net. Here is Lewington. To Sorensen. Here's Kasumu. Of a number of academy players that have been used by Russell Martin throughout the season. Here's Michael Green. Danny Hollins. Now Alex Winter at Eastleigh, who maybe just trying to get a stranglehold on this game. Payne with a lovely ball out to Michael Green, well watched by Regan Paul, who heads out for a throw. And I think he was saying that Green was offside there. Throw and taken quickly. Here's Tomlinson, who put it in his left foot. Not a bad delivery, and it was met by Ben House. And he heads it over the bar. Well, he got it from Green's throw. Tomlinson was allowed to put the ball in. It was a good run from Ben House. Lewington had to come across to make it hard for him. He did a good enough job, did Dean Lewington, but House's headers over the bar. But Eastleigh, in the space of a few minutes, had two very good opportunities from crosses and set pieces, which have certainly given a bit of a warning to MK Dons' back line. Morris with the flick on, cleared away by the Eastleigh defence, and bounces off Smart. Goes out for a throw-in. Well, it is just about these games just getting through and being in the hat. I think MK Dons would just like that luxury. Of course, every side at this stage, especially League 1 and 2 sides, the aim is to get to the third round at least, where some of the bigger boys come into it from the Premier League. Your likes of Chelsea, Manchester United, and the holders Arsenal. National League sides, of course, it is the first round, and then if they do get that league side, it's a chance to build on it. And the ball has gone out of play from Harvey. It was a poor first touch. It did see the ball go out of play. He tried his best to keep it in, but he was unsuccessful. It is Alex Winter who's going over to take the throw in. Lewington. To Bailey Cargill. Not quite as of yet been able to really cause a problem to Joe McDonnell in the Eastleigh goal, have they, MK Dons? They've certainly been showing some signs of unlocking the door with Daniel Harvey in particular at left wing back. But as of yet, they are unable to really cause the Eastleigh defence a problem, which will certainly please Ben Strevens. A quick free kick by Smart does roll out of play, despite it actually going back onto the field of play. Sorensen gets it to Lewington, the thrower. Here is Morris. It looked like might have got it under control, but it did go beyond him. And then Tomlinson knocks it back to McDonnell. Touches it on his right foot, gets it out of it, and then he clears it away. Payne with the ball forward. Rolls on through to Nichols, who decides against picking it up, but gives it back to Cargill. Sorensen back to Bailey Cargill. O'Hora. Back to Bailey Cargill. Well, we did see a lot of pressing between the two Eastleigh strikers in the first 20 minutes or so. The last 10 minutes, that has just disappeared, with House and Smith almost occupying a standoff position. This could be an attack for MK Dons here, though. Kasumu, Morris chipped it to Kasumu, defended well by Eastleigh as Andrew Boyce got the header in, and Winters' wayward clearance has gone out for a throw in. Here is Regan Paul, has to send it back to O'Hora. Eastleigh back now inside their own half, with everybody back now. Here is Walker. Harvey was on the overlap, but Walker holds off Cav Miley well. They've got to do well to get through this barrier that Eastleigh hold. Thompson through to Regan Paul. He's going to keep it in. He gets it to the back post. It's gone off Miley, and then Sam Smart keeps himself composed and sends it clear. He just clips it just beyond the penalty spot there. Regan Paul, it was Kasumu who was challenging, and Eastleigh do manage to deal with it well enough in the end. Here is Thompson. O'Hora. Lewington. Sorensen. Walker. Harvey. Sorensen again. Lewington. Really good pressing there by Ben House. But Lewington still manages to keep the ball at his feet. Here's Sorensen. Foul by Payne on Walker. MK Dons have a free kick, and it's the first one that they've had inside 31 minutes, which just shows how disciplined Eastleigh have been in this game. Well, there was a good ball into Walker, and Jack Payne did just come across and foul him. It's taken short by Harvey. Lewington will give it back to Harvey. Lewington again. Just waiting for that forward run. He decides to put the ball in. It was looking for the number 15, O'Hora, went sliding in, but the flag has been raised. And Lewington was looking for a run directly in front of him. He didn't get that run. He put the ball in right at the heart of the Eastleigh defence, but they just about dealt with it well enough. Well, actually, I say just about. That doesn't give it enough credit. They dealt with it very, very well. And as a result, they've got a free kick because of an offside against an MK Dons player. Joe McDonnell will take a bit of a grim day in Eastleigh, but so far, a good performance by Ben's Devonside as they've stayed in the game. They haven't conceded early. Of course, when a non-league side does concede to a side from a Division or 2 above them, it is always difficult to get back in it. But they're holding firm and doing a good job, and have looked quite threatening at times as well in the game, which will certainly be pleasing their manager. Here's Colton Morris. Thought about the shot, checked back and gave it to Sorensen. Ball in by Harvey, deflected on through to Morris. Good quick feet. Gives it back now to Walker. Can he get around Sam Smart, who goes down, and he's fouled, and well played there by the Eastleigh number 11. Walker did really, really well to keep the ball at his feet, despite the crowd of bodies that were in front of him, and got away and looked like he might have got around Sam Smart there, but he got in front of him, the little man, the right wing back, and did what he had to do and won a free kick. And it just shows how good that defending was there by Sam Smart. Foul by Payne on Thompson. Did just catch him on his thigh there, in particular the back of the thigh. He is down. Do you feel a little bit more when there's a bit of a chill in the air? Certainly don't think he's going to need any treatment for that. No, he's not. Paul to O'Hora. Cargill. Plays it through to Regan Paul. Is he going to go on the inside here? Gives it to Thompson. They're just starting to get a few more men forward here, MK Dons, and Walker's heavy touch is still gone on through to a red shirt, which is Daniel Harvey. That's a really good challenge, or it looked like anyway, from Ben House. He's going to go into the book. Alan Young shows the first booking of the game, but MK Dons making slightly more inroads toward the Eastleigh goal as they started to get a few men forward. They got a little bit fortunate with Walker's heavy touch. Harvey had to come a long way back to get on the end of that ball. He brought it in field, and he did really well to keep the ball at his feet. And then he did get scathed down by Ben House, who did show his best intentions to win the ball. But when you're that area and that particular position, I think it's quite an easy decision for the referee. But it certainly presents a chance for Milton Keynes Dons. Sorensen and Morris are the two players colluding with each other. Who's going to take this? There's 4 EC players in the wall. I think they're going to shoot here. It's going to be Morris. Into the wall, gets it back, clips it in. Not a bad ball. Well defended there by Joe Tomlinson. But it's a free kick as O'Hara is penalised. And Eastleigh won't have to face the threat of defending a corner, as they will get a free kick inside their own half. Well, the wall did its job as Morris took that free kick. It's a very tall wall as well, so even if he did get it over the head, he would have had to have done a lot there. But it was really low into the Eastleigh wall. They just closed it down well. It was a good delivery back in by Morris, but fortunately for him and Warren O'Hara, it was one that was ineffective, as they got a corner because he was penalised for a foul. Edging closer to half-time. He has been a cup tie that has just fizzled out a little bit of action and intensity, but it is still very much on a knife edge, very close to call. Does feel like one goal. We'll probably just tinker things for both managers. Tomlinson on the ball. Played every game so far as Joe Tomlinson, in the league that is. Winter. Boyce. Overhit pass and goes out of play for a goal kick. MK Dons, as we know, are a good possession-based side. They have seen a lot of the ball, in particular at the back. They are starting, as the half has wore on, to have a little bit more possession in Eastleigh's half. It's over the head of Morris as he challenged it with Boyce. Play through to Harvey. He tries to cut it back. Boyce with a touch to Sam Smart, who just sends that away first time of asking, taking no chances there. As Eastleigh elect to just send the ball back to MK Dons as opposed to play it inside their own half. Sorensen to Harvey. Back to the Stoke City loanee. Cargill. O'Hara. Walker, who's come very, very deep all over the pitch to help with his team's possession as they try and get forward into the Eastleigh penalty area. Lewington to Kasumu. Lewington again. Important. 10 minutes or so for Eastleigh. Well challenged by Winter on Sorensen. They would like to hold this now at 0-0, and I think they're pretty much trying to settle for this. Here's Walker. Goes on the inside. Might shoot on his left foot. Goes on his right foot now. Does really well to keep it close together. Rolls on through to Paul Goodlow cross. Winter able to get it away. Morris was trying to get on the end of it. It went behind him. Alex Winter clears the ball away, but it was really good play by Stephen Walker. Went on the inside on his left foot, then checked to go on the outside on his right. Played the ball to Regan Paul. He put the ball in low beyond Colton Morris and put out for a corner by Alex Winter. And it's the first one they've had down this right-hand side of the Silver Lake Stadium. Taken short by Harvey, which goes on through to the box. Paul gives it back to the left-back Harvey. Now he puts it in on his weaker right foot, but it's gone off Michael Green, and it's another MK Dons corner. I think maybe they might look to try and put that in as opposed to go short. But to find out here, Harvey's going to take. He will swing it in. Not a bad delivery. Went through everybody in the box. Sorensen will keep that in, or he thought. And got himself in a bit of a head spin as he was trying to flick it around the EC defence. And it just rolls out of play. Well, he managed to get the last touch out for a throw-in, and he was a bit annoyed with it. He was a bit annoyed with himself with that. Winter will take the throw. Flicked on by Smith. Lewington knocks it back. Here is Cargill. O'Hora. Paul. Now Cargill. Thompson. Lewington. First time ball forward. Doesn't pick out Sorensen. Instead it goes straight to Jack Payne. Lovely back heel by Miley to Payne. Winter sending it forward. Can't pick anybody out. Eastleigh not really prepared to retain the ball. They just want to get it forward quickly. Walker does play it through to Kasumu despite Boyce's best efforts to intercept. That's a really good challenge by Cav Miley as Eastleigh do manage to clear it up the pitch. Hollands looking up. Straight to Bailey. Cargill. O'Hora. Morris turns. Fouled by Hollands. Referee says play on. Good advantage potentially here for MK Dons to seize upon. Thompson out to the left with Harvey. Thompson again. Lewington. Inside of Smart. Away from Miley. Fouled by Hollands. Free kick. And that's going to be another player booked for Eastleigh. And that was an easy decision for the referee, Alan Young. Louis Thompson did brilliantly there to get away from Miley. And then he waited for the challenge to come in, to get around another man. Then Danny Hollands was able to come across. He did take him out there. Did the Eastleigh captain. And this is a really, really good area to score from for MK Dons. It would be particularly hard on Eastleigh if they were to concede here and be really deflating because they have defended quite valiantly in this first half. Not given too much away in terms of fouls or chances for MK Dons. And this is one that's probably going to be, it's probably at the moment MK Dons' best chance of the game. And it's going to be Regan Paul, who looks like he's going to take this. Looking for a Ronaldo-esque type one. He goes for it in the wall, does its job. Is Sorensen, but the referee, Alan Young, has given a foul, has he? Or is it an offside? It does look like it's going to be an offside. So that was a pretty wasteful chance there by MK Dons. And Joe McDonough will be in no serious rush to take this kick as we approach the final 75 seconds of this first half, with not much stoppage time going in that way, I imagine. Ball goes on through to Lee Nichols. Brings it out all the way from his goal, and he was a good 20 yards away as he sent the ball forward. Lewington. Well, MK Dons get the opening goal right on half-time. It's always a good time to score in a 0-0. But Sorensen's been pickpocketed by Jack Payne. He's got Miley up in support forward. He then gives it to Smart. He puts it in low. Kasumu defends it. Hit by Payne. Beyond Lee Nichols' far post. Well, first time in a long while we've seen the Eastleigh midfield press and get higher up the pitch to not allow MK Dons to play out. Sorensen was dispossessed. Good play by Jack Payne. Miley gave it to Smart. The cross wasn't there. It just went off Kasumu, who couldn't get under control. And then fell through to Jack Payne, who went it first time, but he just couldn't get it on target. And Lee Nichols did have his angles covered, in all fairness, and saw the ball sail wide of the goal. Lewington, 2 minutes added on here at the end of this first half. It must have been a very close contest in this first round FA Cup tie between National League side Eastleigh and League One MK Dons. Paul gives it back to Bailey Cargill. Lewington. Thompson now to Cargill. He then sends the ball forward. Michael Green underneath it. That's a throw-in. Regan Paul's going to take it. Walker is the man who he finds from the throw-in. He goes back. Sorensen. 60 seconds of the first half remaining. MK Dons with the possession, as it has been for a long old period of this first half. Cargill flicking it forward despite the best efforts of Smith. Kasumu under pressure from House, but he does manage to play the ball as he took a tumble on the floor. Sorensen, Harvey down this left. MK Dons patiently waiting for an opening. Thompson trying to get it through to Morris, but that's a vital touch by Payne. It runs on through to McDonnell, who will now pick the ball up and put it in his grasp. They're almost there, Eastleigh, in terms of not conceding at the end of this first half. In a half where they've more than held their own, and certainly won't feel like they've been dominated. They have in one respect, which is the possession, but they haven't really allowed MK Dons to really create anything in this game. Lewington. And Alan Young will now blow his half-time whistle. Well, it's certainly not quite been the game for the purists. But of course, as we know, the FA Cup is full of surprises, and MK Dons have been very aware of what Eastleigh can bring to the table. It is half-time here at the Silver Lake Stadium. Eastleigh 0, Milton Keynes Dons 0 in this first round FA Cup tie. Well, let's go through the rest of the scores from the FA Cup. It is Torquay who were 2-0 up against Crawley. The non-league table toppers, the National League table toppers rather, absolutely flying. Wigan 2-0 up against Chorley. Lancashire derby there, of course. They were very excited when the draw was made in what is Jamie Vermilio's 100th game in charge. Oldham 2-1 up against Hampton and Richmond. So Mark Stillman and Harney have seen 3 goals in the opening half. Of course, Hampton and Richmond did equalise, but Bobby Grant scored around about 5 minutes ago to make it 2-1. Havant and Waterlooville lead Cray Valley Paper Mills by a 0-0. Morecambe lead Malden and Tiptree, with the story of round 1 last year when they knocked out Lake Norrin at the Matchroom Stadium. They're not quite being able to match it at the moment, as they are a goal down through Adam Phillips from the penalty spot. Hayes and Yelling Carlisle is 0-0 in that game. Also, as well, Solihull lead Scunthorpe by 2-1. Bit of a shock on the cards there. Scunthorpe have had a really poor start to the campaign under Neil Cox. Of course, they haven't played for a couple of weeks due to a lot of their squad going down with COVID. But Solihull in the National League leading them there by 2-1 in that game. Here at the Silver Lake Stadium, the game started off quite well. Both sides looked like they were going to go gun-ho, but as the half sort of wore on, the appetite for attacking play fizzled out as it wore on, and Eastleigh were happy to just sort of keep things as they were, whilst MK Dons had a lot of the possession, which they have so often done in games this season in all competitions, but they haven't really been able to make it count. And more importantly, not been able to test Joe McDonough. And of course, both sides lining up in a 3-5-2 have defended as well as they can. They've MK Don's real opportunity of the first half was Louis Thompson. He got the ball from a nice flick down by Stephen Walker, and he just struck from the edge of the box, hit it well, and it just went wide of Joe McDonald's near post. And to his right, it was no trouble for him as the ball went out of play. Eastleigh, though, have had probably more chances on goal. Ben House had a header which went over the crossbar as he saw his header well over Lee Nichols' goal. There was a chance in the game for Jack Payne, who struck from distance right near half-time. But then there was one real opening where they had a free kick which Jack Payne put in. There was two Eastleigh players who broke through the MK Dons' high defensive line. And Andrew Boyce, the centre-back, who doesn't get many goals, was onside. Thinking he was offside, he almost just tried to flick the ball toward goal and didn't really get the right sort of contact on it. And in the end, it went in beyond, well, it went straight on through to Lee Nichols, who was able to deal with it well. But that was a bit of a let-off for MK Dons, as they've not had many, in truth, but nor have Eastleigh, so it'll be encouragement. But of course, games like this, where it is very nip and tuck, managers very much now just bide their time and bite their tongue and just wait for that opportunity when to strike in this game. MK Dons, you'd think, would be more tempted than Eastleigh to go to the bench and tinker their tactics in the second half, of course. And what has been a really relentless schedule for both these sides. Barnet, of course, began... Eastleigh began their campaign 3 weeks after MK Dons. Of course, the National League is only a month old. They've had a good record so far. Eastleigh, they've managed to play Barnet, Torquay, Altrincham, Aldershot, Dover and Bromley in the National League so far, losing just once, which was to Dover Athletic. They've won away at Bromley. They've absolutely hammered Barnet at the Hive on their opening day of the season, winning 5-1. They beat Torquay, the National League table toppers, and could sign them to their only defeat so far. They've drawn at Altrincham, and then they've, of course, beaten Bromley and drew with Aldershot. And then they played Weston in the FA Cup fourth qualifying round, avoided a shock there with a comfortable 3-1 win over the Southern Premier League side. Southern Premier League South side in that respect. Whereas MK Dons, they've had a relentless schedule. They've, of course, played 11 league games already, won 2, drawn 4 and lost 5. Only 11 goals have been scored in that, and you can see why in that first half. They do not get many goals. They've kept 2 clean sheets and their last 3, a 0-0 at Northampton on Tuesday, and then a 2-0 win against Wigan around 11 days ago was enough to see them see off the Latics in that respect. But of course, Russell Martin did say in his press conference he has bemoaned the fact they've had a busy schedule. One of their key players, Scott Fraser, has been struggling with the fatigue and the high demand of games in such a short space of time. He's on the bench. Kieran Agard still not available. Richard Keogh unavailable. The former Derby County centre-back, who, of course, has had another setback. Of course, they have got a few players back in Bailey Cargill. He's come back. Ben Gladwin has come back into the fold in recent weeks. So, of course, they have had problems, but they then have got solutions to go with it. On that first half as well, it was very interesting to see sort of how Eastleigh went about it. The first 15, 20 minutes, they did go and press MK Dons' 2 centre-backs, and in particular, Ben House and Dan Smith were very, very good at doing that. And then it just sort of, as the half wore on, just disappeared as they just sort of decided to retreat inside their own half. and be resolute and be a bit more organised. There were a couple of occasions where MK Dons did get robbed of the ball, where Jack Payne or Cav Miley won it. We haven't quite seen enough of Sam Smart and Michael Green as the wing-backs go in the opening 45 minutes, which is a real contrast to Milton Keynes Dons, who have, as we know, used their wing-backs used their wing-backs more than has been. They've used their wing-backs more, as of course you would in a 3-5-2. So often a big thing to think about in that respect. Daniel Harvey a couple of times has escaped the clutches of the Eastleigh defence down that left-hand side, and Regan Paul not quite had the same joy, but he has put a good few crosses into the box, which have, in actual fact, been defended well by Eastleigh. So, seeing before the game, you didn't expect a lot of goals in this one, and both sides have matched each other in a game that is 0-0 between these two sides. If you look at the benches, just to recap, Ross Flitney, Pierce Bird, Callum Bourne, Ben Scory, Tom Bearwish, and Tyrone Barnett are the subs for Eastleigh. 3 out of that 6 are players who've come from their academy. And you look at MK Dons' bench, that is not a bad bench to have. Andy Fisher, Matthew Soranola, Scott Fraser, Ben Gladwin, Jordan Houghton, John Freeman, and Jay Bird. So they've got 3 youngsters of their own on the bench as well. I would imagine that Ben Gladwin and Scott Fraser would certainly come on. Certainly want to add in the youngsters, Jay Bird, who scored 2 goals in the EFL Trophy game against Stevenage last month. Could be very tempted to be coming on, of course. Their other striking option, Kieran Agard, is missing, of course, as well, on the bench. They would have had Cameron Jerome on there, but he is not taking his place on the bench this afternoon. So they are, again, missing another man for in that regard. So let's just recap some of the goals in the FA Cup. Probably not been many more, because a lot of the games did kick off at 1:45. Solihull Moors 3-1 up against Scunthorpe with 10 minutes to go. Stephen Gleeson has scored there. It's pretty much going to dump the League Two side out at Solihull's expense. Of course, Eastbourne take on Blackpool in 45 minutes. Can the National League South side cause a shock against Neil Critchley's side, who turned a bit of a corner in League One recently? There was a penalty that was actually scored by Stephen Gleeson in that game. So just to recap, it is now 2-3 in the Scunthorpe game. Kevin Von Veen has scored, so they're not done yet. There's a search for a fight back. Barnet lead Burn by a 0-0. The game here, Eastleigh, MK Dons is goalless. Hampton and Richmond versus Oldham is 2-1 to Oldham. Havant and Waterlooville lead Craig Valley Paper Mills in the only all non-league tie of the day. Hayes and Yenning are holding Carlisle to a goalless draw. Malden and Tiptree and Morecambe has 1-0 to Morecambe. Torquay United are beating Crawley 2-0, so there's a shock there. And Wigan lead Chorley by 2-0. And of course, the other game is Eastbourne Borough versus Blackpool later on today, which kicks off, as I said, in about 45 minutes' time. There is one more game from this weekend to come tomorrow, which sees Oxford City against Northampton. And of course, the draw is tomorrow for the FA Cup. Some sides in there include Marine, who dumped Colchester out on their own patch yesterday on penalties. Darlington beat Swindon of League One, of course, who are managerless now after Richie Wellens departed. We also saw Kings Lynn beat Port Vale at Vale Park. As they went through on a default after Notts County players tested for COVID. They, of course, got through Stockport as well. Yesterday beat Rochdale. John Rooney scored one of the goals of the first round, if not the goal of the first round, when he scored from his own half at Scotland, very much like his brother, what he did against West Ham back in 2014. So anything his brother can do, he can do better in that respect. They're just one of a few shocks. But Eastleigh players now out onto the pitch. No sign of MK Dons yet. But so far, MK Dons are not quite avoiding a shock, but that could easily change in this second half, as we know. Of course, it is a game that will be settled today. We do go into extra time now from the first round onwards. No replays for the first time in the history of the competition, of course. No first, second, third, or fourth round replays. Of course, beyond the fourth round, usually there would be no replays with just one game and obviously it being settled on the day. So it's very, very interesting to see how this second half does play out. It does look like Eastleigh have not made a change. We are now waiting for MK Dons to come onto the pitch, as I just said. It wouldn't be too long. Let's just run through the Eastleigh team if you are just joining us. They are playing a 3-5-2. It is Joe McDonnell in goal. They have a back three of Alex Winter, Andrew Boyce and Joe Tomlinson. They have five in midfield. Sam Smart is at right wing back with Cav Miley, Jack Payne, Danny Hollands and Michael Green at left wing back. Then the two up front of Ben House and Dan Smith. The subs are Ross Flitney, Pierce Bird, Callum Bourne, Ben Scory, Tom Bearwish and Tyrone Barnett. MK Dons players now are out on the field of play, as you can see. I'll run through their team. They are also playing a 3-5-2. Lee Nichols is in goal. Back three is Dean Lewington, Bailey Cargill, Warren O'Hara. They have a five-man midfield. Regan Paul is at right wing back. Thompson, Sorensen and Kasumu are the central midfielders. And Daniel Harvey is at left wing back. The Scots, Colton Morris and Stephen Walker are both leading the line. The subs are Andy Fisher, Matthew Sorinola, Scott Fraser, Ben Gladwin, Jordan Houghton, John Freeman and Jay Bird. We are almost ready to go for the second half. It's Eastleigh who will get it underway, and in particular Jack Payne, who's going to knock this back to one of his teammates here. So will we get a winner in 90 minutes, or will it stay goalless or a draw in the second half? Andrew Boyce sending it toward Dan Smith, defended well by MK Dons. Sorensen knocks it back to Lee Nichols. Now is Bailey Cargill. Well, one thing we did also see at the end of the first half was MK Dons were starting to get a few more bodies in the Eastleigh half, as, of course, they dropped deeper, trying to hold on to the 0-0 to take into the break. We did see a little bit more possession and a little bit more MK Dons players, as I said, get up in support, try and help in the attack to get toward the Eastleigh goal. First ever meeting as well between these two sides. And of course, it is two sides who different backgrounds. Eastleigh founded in 1946. MK Dons, of course, as everybody knows, founded in 2004 off the back of Wimbledon's demise. They have had a good history, shall we say. They've taken in the championship. They've been to Wembley. They've won the Johnston's Paint Trophy. They've moved into a real spanking new stadium. Here is Stephen Walker. First attack for him, potentially. Might go for goal here. Does. Defended well by Danny Hollands as the ball goes off his foot and it goes out of play for a corner kick. Well, Walker, who likes to do that, going on his right foot, then went in on his left foot. It was a good strike. He did have a lot of Eastleigh players in front of him, but it was Hollands, who got the touch that sees the ball go out for a corner kick. The first corner is to be taken 2 minutes into the second half. It's going to be Lasse Sorensen who will take. He floats the ball in. It's a good delivery. It was Cargill attacking it. It was a foot away by the Eastleigh player. Vital foot as well, because Cargill looked like he was going to make contact with Sorensen's delivery to the back stick. Here is Sorensen again to Dean Lewington. Now to Sorensen. Sumu. Thompson. O'Hora. Now it's with Dean Lewington. He tries to play it to Cargill, but he lets it run for Harvey. Lewington gets it again. All inside Eastleigh's half now are MK Dons, but they are just waiting for Eastleigh to crack as they look to try and find a way through. Lewington. Lovely turn by Thompson. Not the right ball for Harvey. Winter will have to just come across and put his hand into touch. And does the basics there as MK Dons get a throw in. But they're making more strides here as they go in search of the opener in this FA Cup first round match. It is going to be Harvey who takes the throw in for MK Dons. Sumu receives it from the throw. Sumu again. Sorensen. Paul. Sorensen on the floor, trying to find Kasumi a bit short. House overruns it. There is O'Hora now to Lewington. Harvey. Thompson. Kasumu. Good challenge by Cav Miley. Vital challenge as well. And then House is clipped there by Carlton Morris. And he's going to get his name taken. And he becomes MK Dons' first booking of this game. They defended it well. You see, they've been tight and resolute, especially in the middle of the pitch where MK Dons have been the most throughout this game. And then they just stood their ground there. And then as House boarded out, Morris did clip him, and that was an easy yellow card for the referee to make. It's going to be McDonough's going to take all the way out from his goal. One by O'Hora, flipped on by Miley. Dan Smith looks to be offside. Not been given by the officials. O'Hora goes down. There's another player down for... O'Hora went down, then Hollands went down. The referee on both occasions didn't give a decision in any respect, but he's given a decision here. And it's gone in favour of MK Dons. Cargill now to Dean Lewington. Thompson. Maybe they just want to step it up just a little bit more here. MK Dons. Lewington. Thompson. Lewington on the ball. Now is O'Hora. Now it's with O'Hora again. Cargill on the ball now, sorry. Green just sends that away. Well, when you do play a side above you or two, you've got to make sure that your defence is solid. Doesn't give anything away. And that has been what Eastleigh have done. They have not really allowed MK Dons anywhere near their area. Kasuma's pass back to Sorensen was short, but MK Dons nearly did win that back. It's a lovely ball through by Payne into Ben House. He'll shoot, but it's dragged along the floor. And in the end, it goes well wide. But there was a real chance that opened up there for Eastleigh there. And that was just as simple as that. One ball through, set Ben House away. He took it really early. It was a touch, then a shot, and in the end, it was quite a disappointing attempt by the former Reading youngster. Good play by Walker. Now is Harvey. He puts it in through everybody. Here's Regan Paul. Kasumu in by Sorensen. Looks for the back post, but it's overhit beyond the reach of Harvey and has gone out for a goal kick. Well, it did look like a real opening there for Milton Keynes Dons, in particular for Regan Paul. He was not really able to get in a good position to maybe strike at goal and work Joe McDonnell, and then they tried to play their way and work the ball into the box. And the cross from Sorensen was disappointing. Some of their deliveries today, MK Dons, they will admit, have been very, very off key and very much underwhelming. Thompson trying to flick it to Harvey. He then knocks it back to Lewington, sends the ball forward. Is Morris going to get there? No, he's not. Ball goes out for a throw-in. Very frustrated there as Carlton Morris. It was a really overhit pass by Dean Lewington there. Well, you can see why Eastleigh are have made a good start to the National League season, sitting, as I said, in 6th place. They very much been tough to beat. They have played this system throughout the campaign as Ben Streven's men, and it is one that works for them, and it has got a lot of success so far. Paul. Walker. Driving at the Eastleigh defence. Good defending there by Tomlinson. And it's an MK Dons corner, and Walker has fallen heavily to the floor there. I think it's going to be stopped temporarily here. I think he might have just gone into the hoardings. That was a really good challenge by Joe Tomlinson. Certainly nothing wrong with that in that respect. Of course, he is off the pitch, and they'll be hoping he can come on quickly. I'll just holding the play up. This is MK Don's 7th corner of the game compared to Eastleigh's 1. Not quite been on the money yet. Is this one about to change? Good ball in by Harvey. Good header is in the post. It was Morris who met it. And they've nearly come up with the answer there to breaking the deadlock. Morris on the spin. Blocked by Tomlinson. And then Jack Payne will just send that clear. But that is MK Dons' best opening by an absolute country mile today. The delivery was superb. Morris met it. And he's hit the post. And Russell Martin's side have nearly found the way through. That was a wicked delivery. I said about how the corners have not really been there this game, but that changed in the blink of an eye. Really good delivery. Nobody followed Morris's run, and he was just unable to get it in. A few inches to the left, and that's gone into the back of the net, and the opening goal of the game has been scored. Overhit for Michael Green. O'Hora shuffling across and knocking it back safely to Nichols. Here's Lewington. Does well to play out. Here's Cargill now to Dan Harvey. Cargill gets it back. He sends it forward, but nobody for MK Dons is going to be able to get on the end of it. Well, it still remains 0-0, 11.5 minutes into the second half, but we've come mighty close to scoring, and that's probably been the best chance for either side in this game, with Carlton Morris striking the outside of the post. Foul by Kasumu, hand in the face of Smith, and it's a free kick. And Colton Morris has scored 1 goal this season. It was against Gillingham, which it was a few weeks ago in League One. Over 3 weeks ago, in fact. Which, of course, gave them their first win of the campaign. In by Payne. Away by Cargill. Chance to maybe put it back in with Michael Green, which he will do. He puts it in. Boys with the flick on, but he's offside. And free kick has been given, and the offside has been spotted as well by Mark Derrion, who is the assistant on that. The assistant down on that left-hand side, Justin Amy. And well placed to make the call. The referee on the right-hand side is Mark Derrion, incidentally. Here is Lee Nichols. Allowed to bring the ball a long way as he's going to pump it toward the Eastleigh defence as Andrew Boyce and Morris climb over both their heads. Rolls on through to Harvey. Here's Sorensen. Harvey will get it back. Lewington. Kasumu. Cargill. Sorensen again. The numbers that Eastleigh have back as they try to hold on to what they've got at the moment. Thompson playing it through. Lovely 1-2 between him and Morris. Thompson might go in alone. Trickles out to the left. Crosses into the back post. And McDonald's got a touch onto that. Looked like he might have looped over the goalkeeper, who's certainly not the tallest. But he did well to get an outstretched hand to tip that over the bar. But really good feet by Louis Thompson that has almost seen MK Dons go in front. And they've just changed this game now slightly. Have Russell Martin's team, and it really does look like it is going to go more in their favour. And by Sorensen doesn't beat the first man, and it is now a corner kick again for Milton Keynes Dons. Sorensen's going to take the delivery. Real deep one in there. It was an MK Dons player was coming, but 2 Eastleigh players were there. They do get it away. Walker now on the ball. Shot goes in. It's deflected on through to McDonald. And they tried their best to stop that shot. Did the Eastleigh defence, but it did just trickle on through to McDonald. But luckily the power was took off it via that little deflection. And it doesn't cause any real problems for Joe McDonald. Looks like there could be a sub in the offing for either side. Lewington knocks it back to Lee Nichols. Fascinating cup tie, which MK Dons in the opening quarter of this second half probably are slightly on top of. Kasumu gets away from Miley. Good feet. Pulled back. Advantage for MK Dons. Thompson. Beyond Walker. And out for a throw. It is MK Dons who are going to make a change. Does look to be going to be happening in the midfield department. Ben Gladwin is going to come on for the Dons. And he's going to replace Dan Harvey. So glad when he missed a little bit of the opening months of the season a few weeks ago is going to enter the field of play. And that's the end of the afternoon for Daniel Harvey, who nearly claimed an assist for Carlton Morris. Had the post not denied him. So Gladwin on for Eastleigh. Green's clearance Spoons up behind him, and Tomlinson does well to win that off Walker. Takes under control, looks for Ben House. He was offside anyway, but it didn't go on through to him as Cargill deals with it. Now Dean Lewington. The MK Dons centre-backs not afraid to get inside Eastleigh's half, as they have been allowed to do so because of the lack of real sustained pressure over these 62 minutes, as they are just going in search of that opening goal. Good turn by Walker. Here's Lewington. Now into Thompson. Was he fouled? Was he Alan Young? Decides against it. Ben House trying to bring it forward. Now Eastleigh's turn to appeal for a foul, which again the referee says no. He's done well at letting the game continue as Alan Young. Here is Gladwin. First few touches for him. Not the best clearance by Miley. It's going to go through to Regan Ball. Takes up the control very, very well. Needs to run off someone. Looking for a next pass. Finds Kasumu. Here's Lewington. Playing as the left-sided centre-back in the 3 today, and has been for a while. Gladwin puts it in. Good delivery. It was Morris that met it, but the decision goes Eastleigh's way, as it might have looked like he might have just pushed his defender there. 17 minutes into the 18 minutes, into the second half, and it still remains goalless here at the Silver Lake Stadium. McDonald is going to take this. I wonder if Tyrone Barnett will enter the field of play. We know how good of a target man he is. Very experienced. Played for the likes of Crawley and Stevenage and Shrewsbury and Bristol City. There's Tyrone Barnett. Boys wins. Headed back on by O'Hora. Morris takes it down. Couldn't get it under control with his chest. There's a lovely ball by Payne, and House is onside. Holding it up against Lewington. He gives it to Miley. Smart. Gets it away from Gladwin, but MK Dons defend that well as they just made the angle tighter there for Eastleigh. Solihull have beaten Scunthorpe by 3-2. So that's the first shock of the day in this FA Cup. Wigan and Chorley is 2-1 to Wigan of League One. Hayes and Yedding and Carlisle is still 0-0. That's, of course, heading to extra time like this game. But, of course, as we know, with 25 minutes to play, you just never know. Thompson goes on the inside, plays it to Morris beyond him. And then the clearance by Sam Smart bounces off Ben Gladwin and goes out of play for an Eastleigh throw. And I think maybe Thompson, probably looking back at that, could have maybe gone for the shot there. They are just trying to work the ball into the box, pass their way into the net on Russell Martin's side. It was a really good opening. He got it onto his left foot, beat the first man on the edge of the box. When you're in that position, that's a great chance to shoot and work the goalkeeper. Thompson tried to play it to Morris, but the ball to Morris was just not there and drifted beyond him. And little passes like that, just not quite been there for the Dons so far. But they're getting closer, they feel, to a goal. Thompson on loan from Norwich. Here's Kasumu. Lewington. Kasumu. O'Hora. Thompson does well. Driving into the box. Crowded up by the Eastleigh players. First time crossed by Paul. Bounces off Tomlinson. Boyce heads it away. Now with Regan Paul again. They are just sitting ducks at the moment, Eastleigh. Good challenge, though, by Danny Hollands. Smith. House. Hollands. Looking for House. Difficult one for Cargill to deal with, but he does very, very well and makes that look easy. Manages to bring it away from Ben House, who was chasing him all the way. He did a very, very good job there in dealing with that. Here is Dean Lewington for MK Dons. Kasumu. Sorensen. Now Ben Gladwin On the inside on his right foot. Went for the near post. But he didn't get his aim right. And in the end, not really going to trouble Joe McDonough in the Eastleigh goal. Well, he's come on as a left-sided midfielder / wing-back as Ben Gladwin, and went for goal there and put it wide. So Thompson goes off. Replacing him is someone from MK Dons. I'll just see it in a minute. And there is another change as well for the Dons. So they've used all their normal subs in regulation time. So Fraser's on in place of Thompson. Scott Fraser, as we know, feeling the effects of playing so many matches over the course of the last month, on in place of Thompson. And of course, another sub has been made, which I will certainly find out in due course. Lewington, Kasumu. All played there by Carlton Morris. Gladwin. Forward to Walker. He's come up to this left-hand side now. It's got a bit quiet in the game. Maybe he's about to try and change that. Gladwin has it back. Brings it infield to go for goal. Goes for the curled shot toward Joe McDonough's far post, but he put too much on it and it's gone well high and into the stand behind the goal, the empty stand as well, and puts it over. But he's certainly trying to shoot on sight, is Ben Gladwin, trying to get into a good position to get a shot away, but he's just not really had his shooting boots on at the moment. But Eastleigh will look to try and combat that quickly in the hope of trying to stop it. McDonald kicks it back into play. Eastleigh yet to really create anything in this second half. Sorinola has come on for MK Dons. That's the man who has been brought on. Looks like he's been brought on for Warren O'Hara as they go to a back four. Now, MK Dons with Lewington at left back and then Sorinola at right back, and then Cargill and Regan Paul as the defenders. Paul's pass for Sorinola's overhit and it goes up for a throw. And then they'll obviously look to probably have Gladwin out on the left of midfield with Kasumu, Sorensen and almost Fraser as a winger, with then Morris and Walker as a two up front. So they're certainly going for this, MK Dons. They don't want extra time, whereas it does look like their hosts probably want that. They're yet to make a change, whereas MK Dons have used all their subs. So they're holding out, and they're doing very, very well at it. But can they keep it going? Not the best clearance. Into the middle it goes. Jet Payne knocks it to Michael Green. Free kick now given in Eastleigh's favour as there was a little shove in the back. Richard Keogh and Ben Jevons having a bit of a word. It's also Jason Bristow involved there for Eastleigh. Whilst Russell Martin, as you can see, is just focused on the game. Fourth official, John Flynn, trying to calm things down. Boyce gets the flick on, but it's gone past the post. He got up really high, did Andrew Boyce there, but was unable to get it goalwards. 19 minutes to go. 0-0. Chorley have equalised against Wigan. 2 down to 2-2. Harry Cardwell has equalised there. So the Lancashire derby, which looked dead and buried at one point from the National League North side, Chorley has gone in Chorley's favour now as it's 2 apiece. Kasumu's ball was too straight and not the best. Goes up for a goal kick. Having him also leave, have had a man sent off. Godfrey Poku sent off for a second yellow card. So what a chance for Cray Valley, Paper Mills of the 8th tier to get a goal and an equaliser that's going to take this to extra time. Oldham now 3-1 up against Hampton and Richmond. So there's going to be no shock there as Harry Kuehl's side look like they're going to be in the first round draw of the FA Cup. Away by Regan Paul. Nichols on the ball. And we'll just clear it up the pitch. Miley. Green. Firm head away by Regan Paul. Good feet there by Green. Now with Miley. Here's Ben House. Eastleigh's top goal scorers. Not really been able to get an opportunity in this game, but Walker just bounces off the Eastleigh man. Here's Morris. Good opportunity, but it was a disappointing finish. He did everything right. He let it go across him. It was on his left foot, but he just could not get his body across. And in the end, it's gone wide of the goal and into the stand. But that was a real good opening for MK Dons. Eastleigh's defence for the first time stretched. Walker did the hard work, won the ball in the Eastleigh midfield, played it through, good chance. But the finish let him down and it was a big, big opportunity missed. O'Donnell will take the kick. Ben Strabbins is going to go to the bench as he's going to bring on someone to give him fresh legs and a different perspective. I think I saw Tyrone Barnett's shirt number there. Of course, I could be wrong. We'll find out soon in due course when the ball, I presume, next goes out of play. Dean Lewington now at left back. Here is Carlton Morris, who's certainly been involved for MK Dons, nearly threaded through by Fraser, the Scot. Gladwin. Fraser again. Ball played there by Alex Winter. Stood his ground and used his body to great effect to win the ball there. House now to Mike Green. Can't get away from Soranola. And MK Dons now have the ball back here with Regan Paul. I just think with Eastleigh, what they've got to do, they've just got to retain the ball a little bit better. They've just got to relax. We know that they're trying to hold on, but they just can't keep gifting the ball back to MK Dons, whether it's in their own half, where they've got it at the back or in midfield, because as we know, they just love to keep the ball for fun. Paul up from centre-back now. Driving forward. Walker. Soranola overran. And had to play for a goal kick. Looks for a free kick. Looked a bit soft as he went down. And it's a goal kick. And now Eastleigh could make this change. And obviously Barnett will probably come on for one of the two strikers. I'd imagine it'd be for Dan Smith, but you do never know. House is on a booking, remember. And it is going to be for Dan Smith. He's put a good shift in. Put a few flick-ons, but as the game has sort of worn on, you wouldn't have known he was in it, to be perfectly honest. That's nothing against him. So he's coming off. And coming on is Tyrone Barnett. So at 35, he's on. And certainly someone Russell Martin will know, given he's had a few battles against him in his old playing days. And someone who is actually older than Russell Martin, who, of course, is the youngest manager in the EFL. Boys with the header forward. House goes down under the challenge of Bailey Cargill. Alan Young says no foul. Eastleigh will have it with Green. Not the best flick on by Cav Miley. Soranola trying to get it back, but Barnett in between him and the man he tried to pass it to, Regan Paul, as it goes out for a throw-in. Will we find a winner? Regin toward extra time as it stands. 0-0. Nichols with the ball now for MK Dons. Beautiful control by Colton Morris. Looking to take on the Eastleigh defence and be direct. He's got two up against him. Goes on the outside of Winter. Low pullback. Here's Fraser. Crowded out well by Eastleigh, and in particular Cav Miley, who had to get back quickly to just get a foot in there to stop Fraser from lining up a shot. Lewington telling his players to give him some support, maybe start moving a little bit more. In by Gladwin. Morris gets the touch. Away by Tomlinson. Kasumu lets it go over him. Into the path of Bailey Cargill. Lewington with a diagonal ball. Green with the header away. Throwing MK Dons. Well, they are starting to use that left-hand side a little bit more now. They were going through the middle a lot in this second half, but now Gladwin's come on. They want to give the ball to him at pretty much every possible opportunity. He likes to come inside on his right foot, but he has been a bit of a difference, I think, for MK Dons so far in coming on. And it has just changed the dynamic. When you've got three midfield, you're allowed to almost, when you see a heat map, you'll be in the middle a little bit more. But when you've got two wingers on, or now they're playing 4-4-2, they're going to look to try and get out to the flanks quickly. Fraser, Morris. Gives it to Ben Gladwin. Goes on the inside again. Now he checks on the outside. Plays it to Morris, who's out on that left-hand side. Tries to cross it in. Bounces off Winter. Taken under control well by Gladwin. Wins that duel between him and Cav Miley. Trying to get through Winter. Nearly did, but couldn't quite. And Eastleigh now have a free kick as Gladwin goes into the defender, midfielder rather, Jack Payne, who's certainly worked hard for his team this afternoon in order to keep the score at 0-0. Hampton and Richmond 2, Oldham 3 now, so they're not quite out of it yet. Mark Stillman and Harder enjoying a very, very good game there. 5 goals in it. Sam Deadfield with it, that's given Hampton and Richmond a glimmer of hope of salvaging something from their first round FA Cup tie. Here is now Sam Smart. What a smashing grab this would be. Not a bad delivery. Bounces off Bailey Cargill and goes on through to Lee Nichols. But it has been a second half that's belonged to MK Dons. They just cannot find a way through. But that's a good ball through, or it looked like at first, but Eastleigh just about deal with it. Soronella was trying to run on the end of it. It was dealt with well by Eastleigh, and in particular Andrew Boyce. Joe McDonald looking up, kicking it forward. Over there to Barnett, too high. Lewington flicks it. Fraser. We know how good he is. Scott Fraser, the man who signed from Burton in the summer. Already got 2 goals to his name this season. Fouls Cavan Miley, and it's a free kick. And very ideal for Eastleigh. It just allows them to take the sting out of the game even more. And one thing about Eastleigh, as I've said, I said in the first half, they very much stayed disciplined, and that has been exactly the same story in this game. They've had 2 bookings in House and Hollands, but they've not really made any more silly fouls in the game. They've just stayed resolute and so well organised, so well compact, and MK Dons just haven't really been able to turn the screw as much as they would have liked in this game. Nichols on the ball. Lewington. Morris. Up to the left now with Gladwin. Goes on the outside of Sam Smart. Beats him. Not a bad delivery in there. Nobody was unable to get on the end of it for MK Dons, and Michael Green has not stopped that ball going out of play for a corner, but really good play by Ben Gladwin. Went on the outside, crossed in with his left foot. It was there to be attacked, but nobody for MK Dons was able to run onto it. Well, he has been a real difference since he came on. As I said, he's been direct, something that MK Dons didn't quite have. Sorensen takes the corner shot to Sorinola. Sorensen may get it back. He does. Will bring it into the box. Goes on the outside of Green. He was looking for a foul at first. Sorensen, if he was able to get past Green, he probably would have gone into him and tried to win a penalty. But Green stood his ground and Eastleigh deal with that well here. As there are now 7 minutes of this game plus remaining with stoppage time. I wouldn't have thought it'd be more than 3 minutes, in truth. What has been a very strong defensive display by the Spitfires. Ball forward towards House to attack. Lewington just gets ahead to it. Gladwin back to defend. But he can't get it out of his feet. It does bounce off the back of his Achilles. Goes to House. Payne with the first time ball to Barnett, who's gone out all that way to the left. Now to Tomlinson. Looks up. Miley couldn't get it under control. Cargill's defended well. Winter wins it back though. Now Sam Smart, but he's given a free kick against Alex Winter, who's not happy about that. Did go into the back of Carlton Morris there, as it just looked like a chance might have been opening up for Eastleigh down that right-hand side, in particular with Sam Smart. Free kick taken short. Time's running out for MK Dons to find a winner in normal time. Over the top for Gladwin. Got to get his body up in front of Sam Smart, who does brilliantly there. Wins a free kick, as Gladwin did give him a little shove on his side, and that's enough to make him go down and give Eastleigh a free kick. It was a lovely ball by Lewington. Gladwin just didn't quite have the legs to run on the end of it, and he just tries to get his body up, and he just simply just checks Smart to the floor and just allows Eastleigh to just regroup, get back in order, and just push up the pitch. Well, it has been a real hard-working display by Ben Streven's team. Remember, 6th in the National League against 19th in League One. 34 places between these two. You wouldn't have thought they would have been 2 leagues apart, given the nature of how this game is going. Is that ball going to trickle on through to Gladwin? Smart tried to clear it. It does go off Gladwin, and it just trickles on through to Joe McDonnell. The pass just didn't quite come off by Scott Fraser, as it just couldn't go on through. But Carlton Morris has certainly had the chances for MK Dons in this second half. He clattered the woodwork with a header from Harvey's corner. He had a chance where he got into the box, rolled it on his left foot, but he didn't get it anywhere near on target. So at the moment, the chances have all been him. He's not been able to put one in the net. Free kick MK Dons. Kasuma's going to take it. Probably going to go short, is he? Yes, he will. He'll go to his right and find Regan Paul, the Welshman. Lovely ball down the line for number 15. It's an opportunity. It was a good block. Really good block as well. Walker had the chance. Got inside, as he's done a lot, but it was the first time he'd done it in the box. He got it onto his left foot, but he was denied by a great block. And still, MK Dons cannot find a way through. Well, it was a lovely ball down the line. It was beyond Michael Green, who's really covered his space well down that left-hand side. It was beyond him, and Walker was allowed to bring it infield. He did really, really well. Got into the box, struck at goal. Good block by the Eastleigh defence, and still MK Dons are shut out. Well, they've got a long thrower in Michael Green. What a moment this would be for Eastleigh if they were to take the lead. This is a chance that they'll want to get right. Green, the thrower, who's made over 300 appearances for Eastleigh, throws it in. off the head of Carlton Morris. Away by Paul. Payne heads it back to Green. Payne will get it again down the line. He crosses it in. Not a bad delivery. Boys gets up. It's a chance for Winter. Oh, what a big moment it was. Free header. He just did not get the right sort of contact on it. He just trickled on through to Lee Nichols. Fraser up against Ben House, but Ben House does well as Fraser was trying to get away from him. But what an opportunity for Alex Winter. Barnett now to Sam Smart. Giving everything he's got to get on the end of it. He will get on the end of it. They're going to take on Lewington. Crosses into the back post and Holland's got a touch to it. Bounces off Kasumu and goes on through to Nichols. But we talked about Carlton Morris hitting the post for a header with MK Dons early in the second half. What an opportunity that was for Alex Winter. Well, of course, Eastleigh had one in the first half, didn't they, with Andrew Boyce, where the ball went in. He beat the offside trap and he just flicked it at Lee Nichols. And if he took his time, he would have scored. Winter would have done exactly the same thing. He could have took it down and rolled it in off his foot beyond the keeper, perhaps. But he went with his head and he just almost just gave it straight back to MK Dons, in particular the goalkeeper. Good challenge by Lewington. Morris. Lewington again. Here's Ben Gladwin. Are they going to get men in there for him to aim for? Gladwin's going to go inside. He will cross it in. Not a bad ball off Tomlinson. And then Jack Payne sees the ball rolling through to him and he'll just clear the ball away. Did make a bit of a hash of that, Tomlinson, but it was enough to not see the ball going through to an MK Dons player. There was a 2 or 3 inside that box in that attack. Gladwin to Morris. Fraser's gone to the right of him, tries to play it through. Tomlinson able to come across and deal with it. They just can't get out at the moment, Eastleigh. Chance to bring as many men back. Here is Walker. Going on the inside on his right foot. Might look to go for goal. Steady plays it to Sorinola, the sub. Regan pulls up. Morris. Can't play it through to Fraser. Didn't hit his arm. Referee says no. Fraser does get it here. Here's Ben Gladwin. We're into the 89th minute. Can't get away from Sam Smart, who stands his ground well. Does put it in. Boyce hacking it away. It's Sorinola. Fraser. Morris. Fraser slips. And as a result, the ball back to him is cleared by Barnett. Going to be beyond Ben House. It's going to go on through to Lee Nichols. He rolls it out to Kasumu. Given back by Regan Paul to the goalie Lee Nichols. Here's Bailey Cargill. Fraser. Morris. Well played there by Alex Winter. But MK Dons still have the ball. Cargill. Regan Paul. It would be cruel on Eastleigh if they were to score, but they're not going to do it now. As 90 minutes are now up. We just wait for stoppage time. It was the ball that was trying to get played through to Sorensen, but it just did not have enough on it and goes on through to McDonald. 3 minutes added on here for a winner for either side. We're heading to extra time. Joe McDonald in. No rush to take the kick. Flicked on by Miley. Fraser looking up. Walker's offside. Up the pitch by Tomlinson. Got to just find a way. You see, they've had one chance they need. They haven't quite had that yet, where they've really had that one-on-one opportunity. Sorensen. Here's Walker. Trying to get around Tomlinson, who stands his ground superbly. Celebrates with that. He's proud of himself there. Walker, as we know, has gone on the outside, then gone on the inside. Really bamboozled the Eastleigh defenders at times, but Joe Tomlinson did absolutely superb to stop him doing that and let the ball just run out of play for a throw. Joe McDonald's going to take it. Has been an admirable performance by Eastleigh on a defensive scale. Certainly one the fans at home can be proud of. Sorinola. Kasumu. Paul Lewington. We're heading into the last 60 seconds of stoppage time. Gladwin. Kasumu. Sorensen. Kasumu again. Just looked up, just didn't see anyone there, so he has to go sideways. Cargill. Regan Paul. Walker. Sorensen was in the gap. Walker may go for goal. He does. It's bounced off, boys, and it's gone on through to McDonald. Well, Walker could see in his eye line that Sorensen went and made a run beyond the Eastleigh defence on that right-hand side. It was a gap between Tomlinson and Green. He just couldn't play the ball through, and he went on the inside and shot, but his shot was blocked by Andrew Boyce, and it looks like we're going to head to extra time here. Alan Young has blown his whistle. Yes, it is. So no goals after 93 minutes sees this game head to extra time. An admirable and valiant defensive display by Eastleigh, who had to ride their luck a little bit in that second half, as many National League sides do have to do when they play higher opposition. The best chance for MK Dons came from Colton Morris. He met a Daniel Harvey corner very well, but it hit the outside of the post, as that was their real chance. He had a real good opportunity as well, where he was put through by Stephen Walker, but he just managed to shank his shot and go at the near post and put it well wide of the goal. It is full time here, 0-0. And of course, as I said to you earlier, this will be settled today. Whether it is in extra time or whether it's on penalties, it is Eastleigh 0, MK Dons 0 in this game. And both sides now have the chance to get fluids on board and get instructions from the coaching staff. Elsewhere in the FA Cup, Solihull Moors beat Scunthorpe by 3-2. Wigan and Chorley, that's heading into extra time, it looks like. Torquay and Crawley. Looks like Torquay are going to cause a shock there. Morecambe and Malden and Tiptree is 1-0. Hayes and Yedding and Carlisle. That is 0-0 in that game. Nearing the end of full-time in normal time. Haverton Newville leading Cray Valley Mills by a 0-0. Hampton and Richmond and Oldham is 3-2 to Oldham. And Barnet lead Burton Albion by 1-0. They're almost there as well. Well, yesterday we didn't see a single 0-0 in the FA Cup. We've now got 2 in the space of today's games. Eastbourne and Blackpool has obviously just kicked off. That's 10 minutes in. That is goalless as well. So that is 0-0, of course, with that game still playing. But it's 2 0-0s after full time as well, with this game of Eastleigh and MK Dons and Hayes and Yedding and Carlisle. I wonder what both managers will be saying, as Eastleigh got more left in the tank to just keep it as it is. Have MK Dons got any more in the tank to try and break them down? It's just a barrier that's in front of them, and it has been in this second half. It's commendable by Eastleigh in this game. Frustrating for Dons fans, but very happy are the Eastleigh fans. So it's very much 2 different sides of the coin in this one. When you get closer to, as extra time sort of wears on, both managers do look at penalty takers. Are they thinking it even now? Because it has really been such an even contest. And Eastleigh, in credit to them, have deserved to take this game to extra time. Russell Martin, big team talk for him. as he tries to rally his troops, as they look to try and get themselves in the hat for tomorrow's draw. It does just show that sides from non-league can really go toe-to-toe and have a real good battle against league sides. MK Dons, as we know, their record in the last 2 years in the FA Cup has seen them go out in the first round to Grimsby and to Port Vale, where, of course, Russell Martin was manager against Port Vale last year. Of course, one of his first few games in charge after they sacked Paul Tisdale. Of course, Eastleigh last year, this game would have been a replay. But, of course, with COVID-19 and the already clustered and hectic fixture schedule, of course, it will be settled here today. They, of course, last year took Stourbridge to a replay, and they, of course, won that game 3-0 in the replay at the Silver Lake Stadium. But, of course, they've drawn with Swindon here. They've drawn with Crewe here. All of League One now over the past few years. And now MK Dons are the latest side to be one to be frustrated by Eastleigh over the years. Extra time underway. Foul already. As MK Dons have a free kick within the first few seconds of extra time. Paul takes it quickly. MK Dons in no position to settle down and just wait. They want to get that goal as soon as possible. Lewington. Kasumu. Cargill. Kasumu again. Cargill again. Look at how deep Eastleigh are. They are just camping as far as they can, and it's just got to invite MK Dons to just push higher up. No real risk have been taken by MK Dons in truth in this game. Maybe it's just a tactic to just wear Eastleigh down. They've won the battle at the moment. Can they win the war? Fraser, Kasumu, Richard Keir saying, come on, get forward. Ball's beyond Stephen Walker. Cleared up the pitch by Michael Green. MK Dons get it back with Cargill. They've even gone to a 4-4-2. They even changed system with 20 plus minutes to go, but it hasn't come up with an answer yet or a solution. Morris can't get away off the clutches of Alex Winter. Here's Tyrone Barnett. Well played by Lewington. Kasumu now. Cargill. Lewington again. Now Kasumu. It just feels like it's a slow pace that MK Dons are playing at. Paul. Sticking to what they know. Walker. Away from Tomlinson. Will he shoot? He will. Easy for Joe McDonnell, who gets across in good time and deals with Walker's shot in a very, very good manner. When he'll be open, the shots come like that in extra time. Walker's a player who sometimes when he's had that ball, he's had to go inside because he's had no option moving forward. He just gets a shot away, and it was easy for Joe McDonnell in the Eastleigh goal. Well, they have got another 2 subs they can make. MK Dons, well, 3 actually. You get an extra 1 in extra time. Remember, MK Dons are going to use that 4th sub to effect now. Here's Walker. Fraser. Again, he just couldn't get his feet right. Couldn't just get that ball under close control. Smart down the line to Tyrone Barnett. Does it like Jay Bird's going to come on? What a time for the young man to be a hero in an FA Cup clash. Michael Green. Going on the outside of Sorinola. Having to wait for the Eastleigh players to come up in support. Gets it from Tomlinson, and now Eastleigh will just look to have possession from the back, which they so often haven't really done in this game. Boyce Looking for Sam Smart. Did his very, very best to try and keep that in with his head, but it's over him and out for a throw into MK Dons. And now they can make this change. Of course, with the luxury of extra time, you get another sub to potentially change the game. And it does look like they made it to do that, but I think he's going to have to wait to come on. Lewington will take this throw. He gives it to Bailey Cargill. 4 minutes of extra time have gone. Still remains 0-0. Lewington. Jack Payne with a good sliding challenge. Tyrone Barnett on the ball now. Rolling back the years to play in an FA Cup game. So often played in the first round. And under pressure is McDonald, but able to clear it away in the end. As Walker was trying to pounce on him and force him into something. Now, though, here's Sam Smart. He's got House and Barnett to choose from. He's going to bring it in. Cross goes in. It's a low drive. Nichols, though, gathers it easily. Barnett made the run to the back post. House made the run to the near post, but it was both beyond them. And in between the pair of them was Lee Nichols, as he managed to deal with that very, very well. Gladwin, Regan Paul, allowed to come a fair way forward with it. Sorinola can't give it back to an MK Dons player, and they sniff out the danger easily. They've defended very, very well, and they continue to do so 5 minutes into extra time. Green's clearance charged down by Sorinola, and it is an easy throw-in, which Joe Tomlinson goes over to take. So they are going to now make this change, and getting replaces Lasse Sorensen, and Jay Bird is going to come onto the field of play. So the young man whose highlight to date as a professional came against Stevenage in the EFL Trophy for MK Dons is now going to come on, and he's been at the club since he was 7 years of age. So he certainly knows the setup. He certainly knows the club. Gladwin bounces off Payne. Can't get around Alex Winter, who has really stood up well to what MK Dons have had to throw at them. Bird involved. Gives it to Fraser. Another substitute. Walker. Driving into the box. Defended well in the end by Jack Payne, who does very, very well. He had to be careful because if he dangled his foot, no doubt in my mind he would have caught Walker. Lewington to Fraser. Lewington. Walker. Shoots a goal. McDonald saves. Drove away as well. Sam Smart clears. Well, he went for goal this time. Walker, he's had a few attempts where they've been blocked by the Eastleigh defence, but this one went all the way through. McDonald had to see it, and he made a very, very good save and guessed right to where Stephen Walker was planning to put that shot. Cargill, Regan Paul, Morris does well to shake off Tomlinson. Gets it back, does he? No, not quite. Nearly found a way through via Regan Paul's pass, and MK Dons have it again. Easy just sitting back as a game of attack v defence at the moment. Here is Lewington. Gladwin. Gets away from Smart. Gets it in. Boyce away. Here's Walker. Gets on his right and over the bar. He looked like he was going to shoot on his left foot. Managed to bring it onto his right foot. Had the space, had the time to pick his spot. But he just couldn't do so, and it's too central, and it's over the bar from Stephen Walker over Joe McDonald's crossbar. But if anybody is going to score for MK Dons, it is the Middlesbrough loanee, Stephen Walker, who's going to do it. Well, he's been their best player in extra time. He had a really good chance, which McDonald palmed away very, very well to his right. And then there was that chance where he hit it over the bar. Here's Ben House. Well played by Bailey Cargill to nip the ball off him. A man who scored 5 goals already this season for Eastleigh in the league. Take into account the 2 he scored against Western, so he's already got... he got 6 in 8 has Ben House. And he nearly couldn't quite get through then. Heavy touch by Bird. Sent clear by Winter. Now it's with Fraser. Trying to play it through to Bird. He might have been offside anyway, but it was an overhit pass. It goes out of play for a goal kick. 99th minute we're approaching, and still we cannot find a goal. Second game running, then after 90 minutes, MK Dons have seen a 0-0. Eastleigh, of course, were victors on Tuesday against Bromley in the National League, which saw them into the top 6 of the division. Of course, they started yesterday 5th, but of course a win for Aldershot meant that they dropped down to 6th. House now to Green. Taking on Sorinola. Tipping the ball in. Easy for Lee Nichols. He rolls it out to Fraser. Not enough on it. Good sliding challenge by Payne. He now plays it to Sam Smart, who's absolutely knackered on that right-hand side. He puts the ball in, and it's a real laboured ball. And I think you could tell that was a sign of a man with a bit of fatigue putting that ball in. He tried his very, very best, but he didn't have enough to really put a lot on it, because he did have players in there to aim for. He just could not pick them out. Lewington on the ball now. Fraser, Bird. Might look to drive at the Eastleigh defence. Goes to Gladwin. He crosses in. Well watched by Boyce. 2 headers away there by Payne and Winter respectively. Going down is Smart from Gladwin's challenge. And it's an MK Dons throw. Sam Smart went down a bit too theatrically according to the referee. Fraser. Walker. Fraser going to get on the end of it. Sam Smart can't defend it well. Here is Fraser into the box. Cut up by Boyce. I think if you're going to target anyone, you target Sam Smart. He's looking tired out there. Just couldn't quite hold off Fraser, who did really, really well to just stay up on his feet. He pulled it across, but in the way was Andrew Boyce, who's put it up for a corner. He's been there so many occasions this game. Taken shot by Walker. Fraser, Eastleigh have no chance to just settle and regroup. Paul, Sorinola. Chance for Bird. Goes for goal. Wild block by Michael Green. Vital one, as well as it was a shot that looked like it was going to go on target. And as it was in the second half of normal time, the first half of extra time is all MK Dons. Sorinola. Here is now Bird. Regan Paul. Surely they're going to put the ball in the box. They decide to play it in the midfield with Kasumu. Lewington. Fraser. Up to the left with Ben Gladwin. We know where that's going to go. Goes on the inside. Smart slips. Good challenge by Sam Smart. Scott Fraser right near the referee. He's appealing for it, but Alan Young is not interested. Kasumu. Surely it's a matter of time. Here's Regan Paul. He will shoot. He goes for it, and McDonald tips it over the bar. He got a hold of it well, did Regan Paul, but it was central for McDonald, and it was enough for him to tip it over the bar. Well, with Eastleigh camping back, it is inviting opportunities to shoot from range. And we saw with MK Dons a lot of the time they're trying to work the ball into the box, but I think now they're just trying to shoot and just trying to score the spectacular goal. Walker puts the ball in, headed away by Barnett. Not gone yet, though. It's gone back into him. He decides to clear it away with his foot this time. Kasumu and Smart challenging, and it's bounced off Kasumu into Ben House. He might go in alone here. He's probably going to have to. Taking on Sorinola, but Kasumu gets back in time to defend. Well, he nearly went through the entire team there, did Ben House, but he was stopped in his tracks very, very well. Here is Bird. Holds off Michael Greenwell. They're all coming up in support quickly, are the MK Dons players. Kasumu edging closer to the first half of extra time. We've got around 50 seconds of it left. Barnett to Winter. Look how far back Tyrone Barnett is. He's almost playing as a defender. Here's Ben House. Barnett chips it to Miley. He now gives it to Payne. Green. Got the best ball. And then Lewington's able to knock it back to Bailey Cargill. Sorinola. Regan Poole. Walker. There's been a threat in extra time so far. Gladwin back to Walker. Walker gets... here's Gladwin. Tries to play it across the Sorinola, and it's got a touch by Green. Well, whatever does happen, whether MK Dons do get a goal in extra time or whether it does go to penalties, Eastleigh should really hold themselves in high regard for the defensive display they put on today. Absolutely magnificent. And Ben Strevens could not have asked any more of his team. And they've really taken MK Dons as far as they can. They just want to now, the next achievement would be to try and take it to penalties, where that really is a lottery. Bailey Cargill looks out to the left. Gladwin. Nice little flick to Bird. Walker. It's nice intricate play. Oh, that's a lovely way to turn Cav Miley. Driving it. Sam Smart. Gladwin puts it in. Missed by Boyce. Missed by Morris. And it wasn't missed by much at all. Well, it was put in. It was missed by two Eastleigh players. One of them was Andrew Boyce. Morris came on to attack him, but he just could not get a touch to it. And it does go on through to Joe McDonald. And that's going to be the last action of the first half of extra time, as he's going to just send that up into the air, and it's going to go out for a throw-in. Still no sign of the whistle yet. Cargill. Regan Poole. And it's gone out for a throw-in. Of course, there is no halves. So easy throw-in with... Well, now there does go the whistle. Half-time in extra time. And 16 minutes of it were played. And just like the first 90 that preceded it, we have got no goal to show for it. MK Dons forced McDonald to two good saves with Regan Poole and Stephen Walker both testing McDonald, but he stood firm in the Eastleigh goal to keep it at 0-0. Really is a backs-to-the-wall job, and they've held them out as much as they can. But whether they can do it for another quarter of an hour is anybody's guess. Let's run through the rest of the scores from the FA Cup. Barnet have knocked Burton out. They've won 1-0. Scunthorpe and Solihull Moors was 3-2 to Solihull Moors. They've gone through. Oldham avoided a shock against Hampton and Richmond. That finished 3-2 to Oldham. Having it more to Louisville. They've avoided a shock of their own. They've beaten Cray Valley by a goal to 0. Hazen Yed and Carlisle is 0-0, just like Eastleigh MK Dons. Morecambe have beaten Malden and Tiptree. Chorley lead Wigan in extra time at the DW Stadium. So the 2013 winners heading out. Torquay and Crawley's extra time. 3-3 it is there. Torquay looked like they were nailed on for the win, but now it has very much gone against them. And Eastbourne and Blackpool is 0-0. Eastleigh have made a change at the start of the second half of extra time. Their second one of the game. We're underway here for the final 15 minutes of this game. If there's no goal scorer, it will be penalties. In by Fraser, beyond Morris. Sorinola gets there, but Eastleigh do just about enough to defend it. And now Bailey Cargill has the ball. Well, if the fans were allowed inside this stadium, you would have been thinking that there would have been a lot of nails being bitten and a real good atmosphere, especially amongst the home fans who would have been so proud of what their team is doing. But of course, they're enjoying it from the comfort of their own home. And MK Dons have got to throw in here with Kasumu holding off the advances of the Eastleigh player. Here is Bailey Cargill on the ball. Regan Paul. So there was 2 subs for Eastleigh. Pierce Bird on, and Tom Bearwish has come on. So, of course, they can still make another sub, but it does look highly unlikely. Lewington. Shoots low, good save by McDonald, and then cleared by Boyce. Wow, it was a shot that didn't really look like it was going to trouble McDonald at first and forced him to tip it away. But as it got closer toward the goal, it looked like it might have just gone into the net. And a really good save again by McDonald. Has been busy in extra time. Morris. Sorinola. Still being patient, MK Dons. They feel they're going to find a way through soon. Gladwin. Payne was replaced by Bearwish. Beard came on for Sam Smart at the end of the first half of extra time. Now it's with Fraser. He crosses in low. Boyce away with another vital clearance. MK Dons still have it in Eastleigh's final third. Here is Fraser. He crosses in, blocks off Winter. Fraser still has it. Chance to drive it in low. And then Michael Green puts it out for a corner. They're getting closer and closer. They just cannot do any more. MK Dons to score. Fraser, his first cross was blocked well. The second one, he managed to get it through the Eastleigh defence, but he just could not pick anybody out. And instead, Michael Green has to put it up for a corner. Ben Gladwin's going to take. He delivers it in right to the back post. MK Dons player Regan Paul goes down, and it's a goal kick. And it's not actually Regan Paul. It's Stephen Walker who's gone down. My apologies. And I'm not too sure what actually happened there. It might appear he got struck in the face to some degree. So the game will be temporarily halted so Walker can receive some treatment. Does seem to be okay. So the physios don't look like they're going to be needed. And it will be Joe McDonnell who will get play resumed here with this goal kick. He's just got cramp there, so he's obviously just trying to stretch to make sure that it doesn't come back to bite him. Flick forward by Bearwish. Nichols away. All the way back through to Lee Nichols. 11 minutes now for MK Dons to find something. What a performance it has been by Eastleigh, but extra time MK Dons have just stepped it up just that little bit more in the game. Morris, Bird, nice turn. Now he gives it to Ben Gladwin. Tomlinson who's now had to shuffle as the right wing back, but Gladwin overruns it, and you can tell by the frustration how disappointed he is as he's kicked the ball against the advertising hoarding as he's ran the ball out of play for a goal kick. So with Smart going off, they've had to shuffle it a little bit Eastleigh with Tomlinson going out to right wing back, and then obviously Pierce Bird, the Northern Ireland under-21 international, is filled in as a left-sided centre-back of the three alongside Winter and Boyce, with Michael Green staying left wing back. Morris. Sorinola. Foul, was it on the MK Dons man? Alan Young says no. The Eastleigh bench weren't really happy about that. And certainly the referee can hear their protestations. Lewington. Whilst it is 0-0, it's been a real enthralling cup tie Well, it's been one where MK Dons have been seriously frustrated by Eastleigh's stubbornness and resilience. Hollands goes down. Play continues. MK Dons now have it at the back with Carger. They're a long way from their goalkeeper. He's bringing it forward. Looks up to find Bird. Nice pocket of space towards the right. Infield. Where's his next pass going to go? He has to run away from Pierce Bird, but he manages to play it to the right, finding Regan Paul. Here's Dean Lewington. Will he strike a goal again? As he did early on in the second half of extra time. Fraser, Gladwin, lovely run. Good ball in low. McDonald parries and Eastleigh do enough to get it away. Well, that could have gone anywhere with Joe McDonald's parry, but they were able to clear it away. It was Danny Hollands who put it into touch, and they're living dangerously. REC, the Spitfires, really are doing all they can. Good run by Fraser. Across it goes again. And it's Morris. He shoots. It's blocked. Well, it was cleared away by an EC player. It bounced off another one. Fell to Morris. It was a vital block to get in the way of that. EC just maybe panicking a little bit. MK Dons now at the ball with Walker. He might go for goal. Blocked down again. Pierce Bird in the way of it this time. And Tomlinson now gives it to Tyrone Barnett, but he's closed down quickly by Kasumu. Barnett surely fouls in there. Yes, he does. Free kick given. He didn't just have a go at him once, he had a go at him twice. Free kick taken quickly by Regan Paul. Here's Bailey Cargill. Lewington on the ball. They're pushing and probing. Will they get the answer? They are getting seriously close to unlocking the door. Lewington. Regan Paul. They're almost playing with Regan Paul as a central midfielder as well as Dean Lewington. That's how deep Eastleigh are. Here's Bird. Paul. Sorinola. Bird now almost acting as a right winger. They can keep the ball for as long as they want. They've just got to keep breaking Eastleigh down. Lewington. Walker. Regan Paul. Sure, they've got to put the ball in now. Goes on the outside of Green. Crosses in low. Hollands with a really good clearance away. Just casually got his foot to clear that away. Just almost with a little back heel out there. That was pretty casual stuff there by the EC captain. It's Kasumu. Lewington. Gladwin. Kasumu. Bird. Walker. Again checks in on his left. Well defended by Pierce Bird. Here's Fraser. Good feet behind. Just can't quite do enough, but he charges down Boyce's clearance, and a free kick has gone Eastleigh's way. Pierce Bird was fouled on a follow-through by Fraser, I think it was. And it's an Eastleigh free kick, and they just needed the game to stop for just a few brief seconds. It's been a mad sort of 4 or 5 minutes for the Eastleigh defence and goalkeeper Joe McDonald, who really were biting their nails and praying that they were preserving and holding on to what they got, and that's just allowed to kill a little bit more time as they edge closer and closer to penalties. Taken by McDonald up for Tyrone Barnett, but the flick on is headed back by Carger into MK Dons players' path. Here's Lee Nichols now. 5 minutes for MK Dons to find a goal, find an answer. Lewington fouled by Benhouse, free kick. Lewington, the man who was fouled, is going to take it. Well, that's not a really good return by Gladwin. That's going to go out of play for a throw-in, and well, that is going to give Eastleigh so much happiness that has happened. They decided to play short from the free kick, and the return back was a lazy one by Gladwin, and it's just meant that for the first time in this second half of extra time, MK Dons have got to bring men back. Tomlinson's throw for Barnett. He flicks it on. Regan Paul coming across and clearing. Knocked down by Miley. House. Lovely ball through. What a chance for Bearwish. Could he get under control? But then he did stab it back in as Regan Paul was trying to let that one go out of play for a goal kick. Here's now Bailey Cargill. He sends it up. Can't pick anybody out. Well watched by Pierce Bird. It was a bouncing ball right in front of him. Now it's a lovely ball by Bird into Walker. What a chance this is. Goes on the inside. Walker, brilliant save by McDonald. Superb save. Walker one-on-one looked destined to put the ball in the back of the net. But Joe McDonald had other ideas. And it still stays at 0-0. They thought they'd found the jackpot there. Only to be denied. And in extra time, he's made 3 or 4 key saves to keep it at 0-0. Russell Martin must be wondering what his team have got to do to score. Gladwin takes it short all the way to Kasumu. Regan Paul, Sorinola. He'll clip it in. It's a good delivery met by Cargill, and it's gone out for a goal kick. I think there might have been an offside flag in there. No, it's only a goal kick. But Walker is so good with the ball at his feet. Got on the inside of Andrew Boyce. McDonald sprinted off his line, closed the angle down, and made a fantastic save. He has been the man of the match in extra time, most definitely. Hardly had anything to do in normal time, did Joe McDonald. But the man who's played for Eastleigh every game this season in all competitions, makes a vital save, and he's picking a good day at the moment to keep his first clean sheet of the season as well. Because they've conceded in every game in all competitions so far, have Eastleigh, and he really is making himself a hero, making this game go to extra time, making this game go to penalties. Michael Green will take the throw. Maybe is it now time for both to think about penalties? Lewington knocks it back to Lee Nichols. Lewington now gets it back. 90 seconds remaining. Morris. Gladwin. Steps on the ball and takes a temporary slip. Kasumu. Regan Paul. Walker. He's been dangerous in extra time. Sorinola. Fraser. Chance to shoot. Tried to go on his right foot. Good defending by Miley. Set up by Morris to Sorinola. Really good tackle by the Eastleigh man. And he's been hurt on the follow through as he went in to make that challenge to stop Matthew Sorinola from scoring. What a tackle that was by the number 14, Tom Bearwish. Massive challenge in the closing stages of extra time to keep it at 0-0. And on the follow through, he got caught. And again, it's a vital piece of defending to keep it at 0-0. McDonald with the kick. Green can't send it forward. Eastleigh are looking tired. They've got a few more seconds left to hold it. Is this going to be the last attack? Would be so heartbreaking for Eastleigh if they were to concede now. Have MK Dons got one final attack in them? Gladwin on the ball. Shrugs off Joe Tomlinson. He puts it in. Not a bad delivery through everybody in the box. And it's going to go out of play for a throw-in. And it's going to be an easy throw as well. Walker not happy about that. And that probably will be that. He's looking at the watch, Alan Young. And it will be penalties in this FA Cup first round clash. Maybe not just yet. Ben Strevens and his boys will want that whistle to go anytime soon. Lewington. Scott Fraser. Lovely ball through to Morris. Good defending by Andrew Boyce, and it's another... Well, they won't get the chance to take the corner because it's the full-time whistle and extra time. And we have a penalty shootout here at the Silver Lake Stadium. Eastleigh defended so brilliantly against League One MK Dons. Extra time, Joe McDonald made some vital saves. None more so than from Stephen Walker in the second half of it, where he went through one-on-one, the keeper to beat, but the former Notts County keeper made a fantastic save to keep it at 0-0 and make the game go to penalties. And if Eastleigh feel now they don't have a chance, then penalties, it really is anybody's. It's about holding your nerve and holding to what you've got, and it looks like it's going to be the only one that's going to go to penalties. Wigan and Chorley is 3-2 to Chorley, a shock on the cards. 3 divisions in it between them two in that Lancashire clash. Torquay have gone 4-3 up against Crawley in extra time. Hayes and Yedding are going to be on the right end of a shock. They're 2-0 up against Carlisle. In that one, Barnet have dumped Burton out of the FA Cup. Solihull Moors have dumped Scunthorpe out, winning 3-2. The Barnet score, by the way, was 1-0 in that one. Well, we saw yesterday, we saw Bournemouth beat Southend on penalties. Brackley beat Bishop Stortford on penalties. Marine beat Colchester on penalties. Stevenage beat Concord Rangers on penalties. So for the 5th time in the first round weekend, we have a penalty shootout, and with it, the first 0-0 over 120 minutes. First of all, we've got to congratulate Eastleigh. What a performance they put on this afternoon. Defensively, so strong. Yes, they did ride their luck with Joe McDonald making some huge saves in the second half of extra time from Regan Paul, from Stephen Walker and from Dean Lewington. But the defending in 90 minutes and for half an hour of 2 periods in extra time was absolutely massive. And of course, now there is the lottery of penalties, and with no fans inside the stadium, having penalties really does make it a real disappointment for both. But it probably does, on the other side of things, make things a little bit better because, of course, with no crowd behind the goal, the home fans for MK Dons, they can't put them off. They can just blank it out with them, of course, not in there. Now, both sides are getting ready for it. Of course, we've got to find out who's going to take first and which goalkeeper's going to be going in the sticks first. Well, of course, you look at MK Dons, certainly Scott Fraser will probably take a penalty. I would imagine Dean Lewington certainly can strike a ball. I would imagine he'd be one of the names to take one. And then you're going through pickings in terms of who's going to take one. Possibly Ben Gladwin. Looking at Eastleigh, Michael Green, I'd expect, would probably take one. Jack Payne would have been an ideal candidate, but of course he got subbed off at the end of extra time. Looking as well, Tyrone Barnett could probably be a taker. Maybe Danny Hollands, the captain. Maybe even Ben House. He's a regular penalty taker who scored in there. Dan Smith scored the penalty against Western and Supermare. But of course, he's not on the pitch. So it is anybody's guess, like MK Dons, who's going to take this first penalty. They're all, of course, on the halfway line. And it is so cruel to decide the fate of any match, whether it's the first round of an FA Cup match or the World Cup final. A penalty shootout is often the hardest way and the worst way to lose. Tyrone Barnett going first for Eastleigh. Very experienced pro. Came on, remember, in the 76th minute for Dan Smith. Can Lee Nichols save a penalty here. Eastleigh would love to just get up and running in this shootout. It's a battle of wits. Alan Young blows his whistle. It is Tyrone Barnett. Saved by Lee Nichols. Perfect height for the MK Dons goalkeeper, and he's kept it out. He has a good record from the spot over the past few years with his many, many clubs. And he's made a fine save here to deny Tyrone Barnett. And the first taker for MK Dons is Regan Paul as they look to grab the first advantage of this shootout. It is going to be the Welsh defender who, of course, started the game at right wing back, then went in as a centre back as MK Dons were pushing for a winner. It is Regan Paul against McDonald, sent in the wrong way, low into the corner, and MK Dons go 1-up in the shootout through Regan Paul. Eastleigh have to score. Cav Miley up next, an important player in Ben Streven's team. Of course, the last shootout they had ended in defeat in the playoff semi-final in the National League to Salford. Cav Miley stepping up here. Big, big moment. Big pressure on him. Can he tuck it away against Lee Nichols? He can. Barnett went that way, but Nichols denied him. But he went the wrong way on Miley's penalty. 1-1, Eastleigh on the board. Ben Gladwin stepping up now for MK Dons, the former Swindon, Blackburn Rovers and Queen's Park Rangers man. He was pretty good when he came on. He had a couple of opportunities and really stretched the game for MK Dons when they went into that 4-4-2 shape. Can he make it 2-1? In the shootout, he cannot. McDonald saves. Brilliant penalty save by Joe McDonald. And it's 1-1 in the shootout. Both sides now miss one. And Eastleigh now will be looking to profit from this with Joe Tomlinson. Just hoping to imagine what the noise would have been like from those Eastleigh fans behind the goal, where of course those home fans do occupy. It is Tomlinson to take the third penalty for Eastleigh, and he has scored. Eastleigh lead the shootout for the first time today, and now the pressure is on MK Dons. Who's going to step up for them now? It's going to be Colton Morris, the Norwich loanee. He missed some great chances in the cup tie, hit the post with a header. He had a chance that went wide. Has to score this to make it 2-2. Big, big pressure on that man's shoulders. Morris has scored. Joe McDonald nearly won the battle of the wits there. Carlton Morris for a few seconds. Must have had his heart skipping. A few beats there. He got a real big touch to it, did Joe McDonald. But he has helped it into the roof of the net that has seen MK Dons and Carlton Morris make it 2-2. Pierce Bird's going to take next. Came on in the game for Sam Smart. Signed from Notts County in the summer. Alongside Joe McDonald. Will it be a typical centre-house penalty or will it be nice and controlled? Short run up by Bird and he rolls it in down the middle. Real calm penalty by Pierce Bird. 3-2 to Eastleigh, and they are not cracking under pressure, and they gave everything in the game. They're making it hard for MK Dons. They're making it hard for them in the shootout here. Stephen Walker's got to score. He missed some great chances, and he probably won't be wishing Joe McDonald well, as he denied him on several occasions throughout the 120 minutes. Can he beat him here for the penalty spot, though? At least have the better of him here. It's Walker. He stutters a little bit. Gets it under McDonald. Really good penalty. McDonald knows he was close, but he put that right into the corner. When you usually do that, you usually do find the back of the net. Tom Bearwish is going to step up now. The Eastleigh boy from the academy, remember. How will he fare against Lee Nichols? If he scores this, it's over to MK Dons. If he misses this, it's match point to the Dons. Has he got the bottle? Oh, he hasn't. He's in the bar. He went for the power. And it's gone right off his foot. And he's missed it, would you believe, Tom Bearwish? And MK Dons can now win it with Scott Fraser. He's a really good taker to have the last penalty for. This to seal it and not send it into sudden death. Has Joe McDonald got one more save to make in this match? It is going to be Fraser. He runs up to it on the left-hand side. Stutters and scores. MK Dons are now through to the FA Cup second round. And they were taken all the way by Eastleigh. And it's Russell Martin's team who hold their nerve and go through 4-3 on penalties. Tyrone Barnett and Tom Bearwish both missed from the spot. Scott Fraser, the man who's won it for MK Dons, and it will be disappointing and deflating for Eastleigh, but they can more than hold their heads high as they took League One MK Dons all the way in this FA Cup round one clash, and it's the Dons who have avoided a shock here at the Silver Lake Stadium. Commiserations to the Hampshire side, Eastleigh, but MK Dons go through. There's smiles for Russell Martin. I wouldn't have thought he would have been smiling with that penalty shootout taking place. His side is through to the FA Cup second round and avoid a third straight first round knockout in this competition that had preceded them over the last 2 years. A really good FA Cup tie here. It had everything. It had drama, it had excitement, it was enthralling. And the underdogs were plucky, but they just couldn't quite do enough to win. Eastleigh 0, MK Dons 0. MK Dons win 4-3 on penalties. It is there you go through. Eastleigh sent out of the cup, but not dumped out. Very much out and proud here at the Silver Lake Stadium. Full time. Eastleigh 0, MK Dons 0. MK Dons win 4-3 on penalties.